Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. Dishevelled, tired, exhausted, tortured but happy. That is where we are tonight because Manchester United will not be in a European Super League, and even better than that, Ed Woodward's leaving Manchester United. Now, as with most noise and news, this is not necessarily the great news that we want it to be, because apparently, and I've got to be honest, I've got to shout out Mac the Knife. He said it quite a while ago that he was going to be, that Woodward was planning on going anyway. This is not now the sacking or the resignation we thought it was. The problems still reside at Manchester United, as we know. This European Super League is, this plan was going to happen. Big shout out to teams like Chelsea and Manchester City for making it fall apart. It's not Manchester United that tried to stop this. Never forget that Manchester United tried to shit all over our history and tried to shit all over us. And when I say Manchester United, it's the people who own Manchester United. So I have to say Manchester United, because Manchester United is not in the hands of the fans or the players or the manager. Manchester United is in the hands of the people who tried to take us into a European Super League. And the only reason we're not in a European Super League is because other people pulled out. Other clubs pulled out. We were never going to pull out until we had to pull out because we constructed this deal. The Glazers are still in charge. I hope and pray that we can move to a situation where they leave our football club and we can get proper owners in who actually support the club and want us to win on the pitch. And even if we do that, it could be a long journey back to the top. But I tell you what, I'll say what I said last night. I would rather be relegated to the National League and get our football club back. It may be that we could do that without having to leave the Premier League. So I will applaud that and celebrate that. And I really hope that that's what we're going to move towards now, because Woodward's going and the Glazers need to go as well, because they are a poison in our football club. They've always been a poison. We always knew they were a poison, but they have to go next. And I wonder, look, as we go through the story of the night, some of you may be wondering what's going to happen. I mean, look, Conor McGregor says I might have to buy Manchester United. If Conor's got the money, then I think we're all up for a bit of that. I'd love Conor McGregor to buy Manchester United because he's a Manchester United fan. He's a winner. He's a character. But I don't know whether he's got the money to buy Manchester United. £4 billion apparently, Conor. I don't know whether you can raise that sort of money. But Manchester United need to rid themselves of the Glazers. But we must celebrate this victory. I mean, it's not the total victory I would like, but we were never going to get that. I mean, literally 3-4 hours ago, I was live talking about, people like Marcus Rashford putting a tweet out. Big shout out to Luke Shaw. His tweet before all this, just minutes before all this, was superb. And we'll never forget Harry Maguire, Bruno Fernandes, Luke Shaw, Marcus Rashford. 4 players in different ways who were doing things. Harry Maguire as captain, going to be having that meeting with Jordan Henderson. Luke Shaw, to be fair, I don't want to say he's the best. I mean, I love Luke Shaw as a footballer, but it was never about footballing ability anyway. This was about football club. And Luke Shaw put a tweet out and put it into words over a number of sentences, how he was with the fans and effectively against the Super League. And that will never be forgotten. And it doesn't mean the players that stayed quiet are not important. It doesn't mean Paul Pogba or Anthony Martial or Victor Lindelof are any less. But I think it took something called balls from people like Luke Shaw and Marcus Rashford and Harry Maguire and Bruno Fernandes to lead and show solidarity with the fans when we needed that. And that won't be forgotten. So big shout out to them. Doesn't mean if you put in a crap performance, we won't give you 5 out of 10, because we've got to be honest about football performances. But in relation to what you've done for the football club and the football fans of this football club, and Pep Guardiola as well, look, I won't forget that this has not been about just Manchester United. This has been about, we are called the United Stand, but that went well beyond Manchester United Football Club over the last few days. Football fans in general of all clubs, and not just the Arsenal and the Liverpools, the West Hams, everybody have come together and united and stood up against this dictatorship that was trying to destroy football. So, massive but from a Man United point of view, I think that's absolutely fantastic point of view. There are talks that the Glazers are looking to sell. I hope they are looking to sell. I mean, look, if they are looking to sell this last 3 days, and I'll speak for me, I can't speak for you. Since Sunday night, I've barely slept. Since Sunday night, I've been through all emotions. I'm exhausted. And I sit here tonight happy And if it means that Woodward's gone and it means that the Glazers are going, I would have gone through a year of this the last 3 days, to be honest with you. I would go through anything to get Manchester United back in the hands of people that love this football club and want us to. All I want is a football club that wants to win on the pitch. I don't care if we don't win on the pitch, but I think we will do, because I think we've got the fan base and the revenues to succeed. But I don't want, we're going back into old arguments now. We're going back into transfer market talk, and I don't want to do that. But this board has run a shit show for 15 years, and we need a proper football club back. But let's bring it back to where we really are. This board tried to take Manchester United out of the European Cup. They tried to take us out of a cup that in 1958 we were flying back from, and had the thing that basically, makes us what we are. Takes us away from being a football club and turns us into not a religion, but a passion, a story, something that people absolutely, it consumes their life. In 68, we won that cup. In 99, our manager scored the winning goal to win that cup and win a treble. And this board constructed, didn't sign up to, this board constructed the Super League. They were one of the front runners of it. They wanted to take us out of a cup that is what this football club's about. The Busby Babes, Sir Matt Busby, Sir Alex Ferguson, their biggest achievements are European Cup things. And obviously I don't mean that, the Busby Babes didn't achieve but they were trying to achieve it. They were the first, I think they were the first English club to go into the European Cup. They probably would have won the European Cup. And they tragically, some of them, that team died coming back from the European Cup. And yet our owners, in secret, sneakily, went behind managers, players, fans back to take us out of it. Now, Ed Woodward may be resigning, but the Glazers need to go as well. Because although we're not going to be in the Super League and that's a big win, and, look, I'll stand by it, and I'm not the only one, and I don't want any, drama about this, but I did say it. I said, if Manchester United go into this Super League, I will not do the United stand anymore. And some people are probably thinking, I wish we had gone into the Super League then. And I get that. I'm all for that. We're all going to start falling out again. That's the way it's going to be. But I wouldn't have done it. And the reason I wouldn't have done it is like many people. And thanks for all the emails. Thanks for all the messages. Because a lot of people have sent a lot of things that I just cannot reply to. I will try to over the next few days. But I just haven't been able to over the last few days. And many people were like me. They were like, how can I support a club that doesn't actually relate to the things as to why I support it anyway? How can I support a club that's openly stabbed us all in the back and betrayed us? And that would have always been in my head. And look, I'm a stubborn person on certain things. And I couldn't have supported a set of players, a manager and a team that basically turns its back on what this club is all about. So I'm overjoyed that we're not in it. And I'm overjoyed that we're back in, with the Premier League and the Champions League or the European Cup, as I would call it. I want us to continue doing the things that this football club has done for decades. And I'm happy about that. I turn my back now on Liverpool and Arsenal and Chelsea and Spurs and Manchester City. I thank them for what they've done, but it's back to Manchester United problems now. That's the way to go. We've all worked together. If Liverpool decide they've had it with their owners, then I applaud them for it. That's their journey. It's not mine. If Man City do it, that's their journey. I thank them for standing with us. We've all stood together and we've all had a victory for football. But we now turn our attentions to Manchester United, and we're not out of this yet. We've not withdrawn from this Super League yet officially. We constructed it. It was our idea with Real Madrid, apparently. We're not out of it yet, but it's dead. It's dead because Chelsea are out of it. Man City are out of it. Barcelona are coming out of it. And with PSG, Bayern Munich and Dortmund not in it in the first place, you haven't got a Super League anymore. You've got 4 or 5 clubs. The Juventus guy, Agnelli, the snake that UEFA called a snake, he's gone. And Woodward's going as well. Now, on Ed Woodward, let me just say about Ed Woodward this. I know people have been waiting me to ask about Ed Woodward. On Ed Woodward, I'm going to speak totally honestly here. First thing, the most important thing, I wish the man no harm at all. I don't take joy in somebody losing their job. But in these circumstances, and look, I hope he goes and gets a job in a bank and does a really good job, because there's no doubting he's a talented man. He's been at Manchester United a very long time, and he constructed the Glazers deal, and he probably had he did, didn't he? He had a very big part in this Super League thing. You think about all these sneaky meetings that have been going on. I do think about that as a moment. I almost think we should have a minute's applause for the work that they did on this Super League and failed to do, because all those sneaky meetings must have been going on for a long time. All the funding they got in place for it all to fall apart because you totally misjudged the power of football. Is fantastic, isn't it? But look, I don't think Ed Woodward needs to worry about, people shouting at him in the street or anything like that. I wouldn't want anybody to do that. I have got the Chelsea game on. It's 0-0 with Brighton. I wouldn't want people to do that. At the end of the day, the victory for me is that Manchester United do not have him as chief executive anymore. And I say that not just, to be honest, I would want him sacked for this. I would want him sacked for being involved in this. And I'm sure things will come out that, he wasn't totally happy about being involved with it. Ed Woodward runs that football club. I'll tell you this right here, right now. Ed Woodward runs Manchester United. He is the man who runs it. You speak to people who work at the club. You speak to journalists. You speak to players. They will tell you Ed Woodward is the man there and acts like the man. He is in charge. The Glazers own it, but most of the Glazers are nothing to do with Manchester United's day-to-day running. They might take a phone call with Ed Woodward, but Ed Woodward runs that football club from top to bottom with an iron fist, whatever. He runs that football club. So with him not in that football club, there's big change coming through, because it's not going to be Ed Woodward. It could be somebody worse than Ed Woodward and the Glazers could stay. It could be somebody better than Ed Woodward. But he had to go a long time ago. He had to go for what he's done. There is no way that you run that football club and don't have a huge part in the meetings that have been going on to do this shower of shit Super League. So for me, he had to go for that anyway. The second thing I would say is that he should have gone a long time ago. When you are in charge of that football club, he recruited Moyes, it failed. He recruited Van Gaal, it failed. He recruited Mourinho, it failed. 3 managers got sacked and he survived. All the money we've wasted, the contracts for people like Phil Jones and Alexis Sanchez, the mess that he has sat over, I would say to Ed Woodward, you know what, enjoy resigning and leave. You stayed way longer than you should have done. You know what, in fairness, you were hung around in that football club a lot longer than you ever should have done. So I feel no sympathy for Ed Woodward leaving Manchester United. He should have gone a long time ago. And ultimately, I don't care whether you've been in the job 6 months. You still should have gone for being involved in what's just gone on in the last few days anyway. So no sympathy at all for Ed Woodward in relation to the job he's done as a Manchester United CEO. But to be honest with you, the minute he's gone, I won't give him another thought. And I would implore anybody not to have any bad feeling towards him or hold it personal or anything like that. At the end of the day, he's done a job and he's done it terribly badly, and he will have to live with that. But, maybe he will have regrets, maybe he won't, but he's got to live with that. It's not for us. We don't need to carry any aggression or anger or hate towards him. He's resigned. Go, you deserve to go. But the Glazers are now the next thing, and they need to go. The Glazers appointed and worked with Ed Woodward. The Glazers sanctioned this, and let's not forget. I have seen. I'm going to get into your comments, but let's not forget. I've seen people tonight saying, "Well, that's Woodward gone. It's a victory." I seem to remember the chairman of the Super League. The president was Florentino Perez. The chairman was Joel Glazer. The Glazers own our club. Gary Neville said the other night, Joel Glazer doesn't put his name to anything unless it's going to be something big. And Joel Glazer put his name to the Super League. So as far as I'm concerned, Joel Glazer, you are out. You've got to go. You own this football club. You were massively involved in this Super League, and you shat all over this football club. Now, some would say they've been doing that for 15 years. They bought it on debt. We know that. I don't think they've run the club particularly well. But when you do what you did with this Super League, I'm telling you now, mate, you've got to sell it. And again, if you sell it and you go off, thank you and goodbye. We move on. But you've got to go, because it's untenable now. It's untenable. You basically tried to put us into something we never should have gone into, and you constructed it. And this football club and these football fans of this football club have been traumatised to a huge level over the last 3 days. Mental health, I mean, I'm exhausted. I can only imagine what some people feel like. This has been mental torture. This football club is not a business to us. This football club is a way of life to us. And, you know, this football club has spoken on big issues over the last year. There's even been talk about bullying and mental health and this, that and the other. You've inflicted mental torture on our fan base over the last few days that you will never know how distraught some fans have been. You know, it's disgusting to treat people that have provided you with your dividends. You bought this club on debt. Where do you think all the dividends come from? The sponsors want to see United fan base eyes. The merchandise is bought by United fans. You turned your back on United fans. You treated us like crap. You cannot stay in charge. You've got to let it go. You've got to let it go. Two-part question. I know it's very early, but who do you think will take over from Woodward, and who would you want to see, Ivan? Mate, I don't know. You know, I don't want Rio Ferdinand or Gary Neville doing it. I want a chief executive who's very, very good. I mean, David Gill I thought was very, very good. I don't think he'd come back, but ultimately, Ed Woodward going is only good because he's not done a very good job, and he's been a party to this horrible thing they tried to do. So him going and a fresh face coming in is a good thing. They'll probably promote from within. But ultimately, Ed Woodward going doesn't necessarily change the course of things if they promote from within and we keep the same board. Seriously thought the club that I loved was dying before my eyes, says Ben Carter. So glad that it has survived. Massive moment in our history. Glazers have to go, says Ben Carter. Woodward will continue working until the end of the year, though. Concerning. Finally, a good summer. Conor McGregor, new owner. Phil Jones outlasted Woodward, says Hadrian Wong. I'd love someone like Conor McGregor to buy Manchester United. I think, you know, it can't be any worse than the Glazers, but ultimately I doubt he's got 4 billion. Mark, surely the Glazers will put United up for sale now. Question is, who's buys us? Can the fans take it? 51 to 59 like in Germany, says take back our club, says Chris Elliott. And well, now is the time to mobilise the fans. Glazers out, says Ario. Look, we've tried for 15 years to remove the Glazers. As I said when the news came out about the Super League collapsing, each club now has responsibility, now the Super League is over, each club has responsibility to decide what they want to do. I don't think Man City will want their owners out, and that's their choice. But for Manchester United, we need to get our owners out. But can we get our owners out? Probably not. I don't know. But, you know, it's all I would say to the Glazers is whether Manchester United fans can force you out or not, when you're thinking about the future, just think, you know, you tried to do something, it spectacularly failed, and your fan base does not trust you. It probably didn't trust you anyway, but the trust level that was there before is on the floor. This is now a very, very unworkable situation, so you need to cut your losses and go. That's what you need to do. But look, I don't know whether they're going to do that. I mean, you know, are they going to do that? I don't know. But reform is needed. I mean, look, one of the big things that I suppose I would say now is that, you know, will there be any sanctions against United? Will we still be able to play in the Europa League? Will we still be able to play in the Premier League? And I think we will. Now, to be honest with you, I wouldn't necessarily blame the Premier League and UEFA for imposing sanctions on us, because ultimately this is a coup. The only reason it's not worked is because it's collapsed of our own accord. We would, if this had all gone to plan, do you think United would have gone, you know what, we suddenly feel a bit guilty towards the Premier League, UEFA and all our fans, let's not do it. If we'd have got our way, we were going to do it. So realistically, there probably should be sanctions. There won't be points deductions. I don't think we'll be kicked out of the Europa League, but we probably do deserve it. We don't deserve it as fans. Ollie doesn't deserve it. The players don't deserve it. But the club, Manchester United, which we don't own, does deserve it, because what we tried to do was appalling. What I would like, but you know, I don't think that will happen. But what I would like to see happening, and unfortunately, the British government did say that they are willing to do things, and maybe that was the thing that caused the collapse, because maybe the clubs realised if the government's going to do something, we're screwed. We can get through UEFA and we can through Premier Leagues, but we can't get through government legislation, and maybe that was the thing that broke the camel's back. But I would implore the British governments, whether it's the Labour Party or the Conservative Party, to continue down the line that they were going to do anyway. You know, give us our clubs back. Bring in the platforms that are in Germany, where we get 51% ownership. I don't think that will happen either now, but I really wish it would, because this is but just a warning, isn't it? This has happened. It could happen again. None of us want to go through this again. So I think something needs to be brought in to make sure that this never happens again. And I'm sure UEFA will be looking at things like that, and I'm sure the Premier League will be looking at that. But we need to make sure it never happens again. We now need to get the Glazers and Kroenke out now. Well, Arsenal, Gunnar, thank you very much. I'm sure Arsenal fans will be gunning for that as well. And I'm sure Arsenal fans will want change. The rumour mill is seriously swirling with reputable people that they're thinking of selling. 2021 could be the best year ever, says Joshua Bowwater. Let's remember Sir Alex Ferguson was first to respond to all this. Look, you know what? Sir Alex Ferguson, Sir Bobby Charlton, legends of this football club. To imagine how they felt as older men over the last few days. Sir Bobby Charlton's not got great health, has he? Appalling. Apparently Barcelona have pulled out now, says David Page. And also, when we're back to going to games, I think we should have Glazers out protest by bringing back the yellow and green scarves. Kian, that doesn't work. That doesn't necessarily work, does it? So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But look, what I can say from my own heart is that, if you'd spoke to me 2 hours ago at 5 to 7, I would have been like, I'd just been reading about the legislation that they brought in Spain. The Super League had brought in Spain to say that we can start the league whenever we want and we can't be kicked out of the Premier League. And you think, bloody hell, this is going to be a bit of a battle. To be here 2 hours later where Ed Woodward's leaving the club and the Super League has collapsed, I mean, what a turnaround that is. It's absolutely fantastic. Yeah. Most of the ownership Glazers have is bought and is being paid by United. Give them the stake they actually paid for and give the rest to the fans, says Capil. Are we 100% out of the Super League, says Oliver? I mean, I'm going to bring you some updates in a minute. I don't think that we are actually out of it yet. Officially not out of it yet, but we are very much, it's very much dead in the water because clubs are dropping out. Tuesday, April the 20th, 21, the day Man United fans got our club back. Ed's gone, next judge, then Glazers. I just wish I could see Sir Alex Ferguson's reaction. How can United get out the Super League when the Glazer is the vice president of the Super League, says Dragon King? Well, you just disband it, don't you? You just say you're not doing it anymore because that's what's going to happen. Do you think Ed didn't care if the Super League crashed because he was going to leave anyway and just wanted to test the waters, says Akil? There's a rumour going around saying one of the top 6 sides will be on sale within the next couple of days. Do you think it would be United, says Dennis? And how would Man United feel after the Glazers sell, but they sell to other Americans, says Ran? Deji, well, look, I mean, that's a very good point that we shouldn't gloss over. The Glazers could sell us to even worse owners. At the end of the day, people say, well, they can't do that. The Glazers put us into the Super League and we're going to turn their back on the club's history and fans and players. So they could sell us to somebody worse. They could. DJ, thanks for the super chat. What has Harry Maguire done? Because he's trending on Twitter, says Ishan. And hey, Mark, do you think the players coming out had a big say on this development now to get rid of the Glazers, says Brendan. And Woodward convinced Real Madrid to join before he could convince Jude Bellingham to join MUFC. Glad he's gone. McGregor in. Yeah, look, Conor McGregor buying Man United was probably a joke. I don't know whether he's got £4 billion. So, yeah, that's probably not going to happen. It's 0-0 in the Chelsea game, by the way. But this is... I will say this. Ed Woodward may not be going until the end of 2021. And to be fair, it's probably something that was already going to happen anyway. I think people who are screaming and shouting about getting their club back, be very, very careful. You haven't got your fucking club back. We haven't got our club back. The club is still in the hands of the Glazers. What we have done is you've probably got your football club back in the sense that you can still support it like you have done for the last 15 years, where you love the football club, the familiarity of the Premier League and the Champions League, but it's owned by people who don't love your football club. We're back where we were last week. What we need to be now is we're not back where we were last week because these owners who we don't really want have shown that they absolutely do not care about us at all, and for a bit of money would just chuck us into something that takes us away from our history and stabs everybody in the back. So we're in a worse situation than we were last week because we're now owned by people who are anti-football fans. We haven't got our football club back yet. This is a battle. And as I said on That's Football a few minutes ago. We've won this battle. We've got Manchester United out of the Super League. Well, we haven't got Manchester United out of the Super League, by the way. Chelsea and Manchester City and everyone else who's left has got us out of the Super League. Man United are still in it, and Man United constructed it. So it's only not going ahead because of other clubs pulling out. But the most important thing is, we may have seen the Super League crash because of other clubs, but we were part of that battle. But the war is not over. We've won this battle, and what's happened is, it's like winning a battle. You know, when you're watching Braveheart or Game of Thrones, you win the battle, but not everybody in the battle necessarily surrenders. Some of them escape. And it's like, do you celebrate winning the battle and let them escape, or do you go after those people trying to escape? We've got to now go after the Glazers. We've got to use this opportunity and frustration and disgust to go after the Glazers. And look, I really hope that organisations do it for us as well. I really do hope that the government, aren't happy about it and want to restructure football and reform it and go to a German model. I would love to buy Manchester United, but I still think we're at war. The thing is, the war is smaller now. I think when you're up against the Super League and Real Madrid and all that money, it's a massive war. But the war is not over. We can say we won the war, and we haven't, or we can continue, vocalising and having a go. And look, what I would say is, people like Gary Neville, Carragher, it's not on him now. Carragher's done a great job. People like Gary Neville, what a great job he's done, because he's got a massive platform and he's used it. Gary, we're not in the Super League now, but the people in charge are still in charge. I want to see you on Monday Night Football going in on them. I want to see you carry it on. I don't want to see you go quiet now and go, well, my job's done. For Manchester United fans, our war continues, and they're like individual wars now. Like Liverpool can do their one, Arsenal can do their one. We can't help them, and they can't help us, but we can help ourselves. We haven't got our football back. I think people are celebrating like we've got our football back. We've got Manchester United back in the Premier League and the Champions League. That's what we've done. That's all we've done. Ed Woodward's still here till the end of the year. He's still going to be there. There's going to be fans in the ground very, very soon, and Ed Woodward's going to be there. How's that ever right? He needs to go now. The Glazers are still going to be in charge. It's all right saying, my fear is, well, we're going to sell, and Ed's going to go at the end of the year, and we all go back to being normal, and then at the end of the year they go, yeah, Ed's not really going, and we're not really going to sell. And your anger's gone then because you've let it go. We need to strike while the iron's hot. We need them out, and we need them out now. That's what we need to happen. So, look, we haven't won a war yet. We haven't got our football club back yet. What we have got, and it's significant, is other clubs have basically collapsed the Super League. And we as fans are part of that win, because we united with everybody else and had a huge voice, and they didn't expect that. But as Manchester United fans, we haven't won anything yet. All we are is back in the Premier League and back in the Champions League, and we're not going in the Super League, and that's fantastic. But we're still owned by people who constructed the Super League. JP Morgan were going to fund the Super League. JP Morgan helped the Glazers buy Manchester United. Ed Woodward worked for JP Morgan. I mean, is that just pure coincidence? Or did we construct the Super League, Manchester United, with Real Madrid? And I think we did. Joel Glazer was going to be a chairman of it. So, we do have to keep it going. We've got to keep it going. I mean, I'm not saying we need to keep it going with the intensity and pure exhaustion of the last few days, because I appreciate what it's been like. I think so many people have done so much work. There are Twitter accounts out there that have just constantly, including Ryan on the United Stand, what a job he's done. But there are others out there. United District, the United Journal, United Report, MUFC MPB, what a job. United Stand, of course, just constantly churning out news after news after news after news after the last 3 days. The effort levels of Manchester United fans over the last few days and how exhausting it's been has been absolutely huge. I'm so proud of it, and we don't need to do it with that intensity over the next few weeks and the next few days, because you've got to go hard to stop that Super League, and everybody's done that. But what we do need to do is keep at this. The Glazers need to go, and it's not about build a bonfire and all that. I don't agree with threatening people with violence and anger and all that. I don't agree with that. We're better than that. And this football club's better than that. But on a pragmatic approach, if I could have 5 minutes with the Glazers, and I'm sure some of you would like 5 minutes with the Glazers, and I'm sure what some of you would do would be very different to what I would do. But if I could have 5 minutes with the Glazers, I'd sit down, I'd be happy to buy them a pint. You know, some people probably wouldn't do that. And I would sit down and I would say to them, look, your position at this football club is untenable. You've got to go. You tried to do something and you failed. Sell it for a good price and move away from a sport that you never understood. Why are you keeping hold of this football club? You are despised professionally by our fans. And you despise us. No, we don't. Yes, you do. We despise you because you despise us. Because you tried to sell our history. You tried to stab us in the back. You tried to stab our manager in the back, our players in the back, our fans in the back, our history in the back, our legends in the back. Because you tried to do something without any of our knowledge and take us away from everything that we know. You despise us, and professionally, we despise you. How can that ever work? Please get out of Manchester United, do the right thing, and move on, and you can forget about Man United, and we can forget about you. And that's what I would say to them. It's nothing personal. I don't wish you any ill health or anything like that. That's not my style. But do the right thing. You did a horrible thing over the last few days. I cannot speak for the Super League. I can speak about Manchester United. I've never, as you know, I've never felt that the Glazers or Ed Woodward know anything about this football club or very much about football. I don't think they're Man United fans. I don't think they're football fans. I don't think they know anything about it. And I think, therefore, what's happened over the last few days is probably quite obvious. To say, for all the money that was involved, for all the private meetings that were involved, for this to collapse like the proverbial bowling ball smashing through a poppadom, for it to collapse like that, for after all the work they've put into it, just shows how they misjudged you and football. I think they thought, we'll announce the Super League, there'll be a bit of a backlash, but then everyone will start fighting amongst themselves and we'll just carry on with our plans and they won't be able to stop it. And what actually happened is, they announced it and the world of football united and went, not on our watch. And they were like, shit, I thought this wouldn't happen. And it's been brilliant to witness, although it's been torturous to think what could have happened. They totally misjudged what we are as a football club and a fan base, and all the other football clubs and all the other fan bases. And they've got to go. They've got to go. Florentino Perez doesn't represent Spanish football. We don't want this Super League thing. Go on United, says Louis. British government must pass legislation for 51% supporter body ownership of all football clubs. Hopefully that will push out the greedy owners, says Kevin. Without them, we will still be able to go head to head with other big clubs financially. I do want them out either way. Exactly. Look, and Nick, maybe we're going to have a shit transfer window. But to be honest with you, we could have had Haaland and Rice and Grealish at our club this summer and been in a Super League. We might not buy anybody this summer and lose Paul Pogba, but still be in the Premier League and the European Cup. I'll take that if the Glazers go. I'm not bothered. I'm not bothered at all. I couldn't give a shit. I couldn't give a shit. As I said, I would have took Manchester United being in the Vauxhall Conference or whatever they call it now if the Glazers had gone. So it's I'm absolutely only over the moon with that. I'm generally worried about the next season. Will our players want to stay? Will players want to sign for our club? Look, George, that is a very, very good point. A very, very good point, George, because the mistrust that Solskjaer has, the mistrust that these players have towards our football club now is huge. And people will say, well, yeah, Real Madrid are no different. And neither are Juventus. But the reality is, the grass is greener, isn't it? Pogba might be like, I've had enough of this. And let's not forget, this is multifaceted. I mean, I think over the next few days we'll be talking about lots of different things. By the way, please smash a like on the video. I would love this to be the most liked video we've ever had, because I think Woodward gone and the Super League collapsing is quite a historical moment. And I think the last 3 days as football fans, you should be very proud and never forget it. It's been absolutely ridiculous emotionally and tired. But this is a victory. I don't think it's the victory everyone thinks it is yet, but it's the step in the right direction. So please smash a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe, by the way, bottom right hand corner. I think tomorrow we might be able to come back to sort of some proper Man United news, and on Thursday we can do a preview, can't we, and actually give a shit. because we know that we'll be in the Champions League. We were going to be in the Champions League next year. I thought we were going to be in the Super League and I wouldn't be watching. So, yeah, we can actually get excited about football again. But I'm losing my mind here about where we were. But, yeah, what I was saying is that, yeah, the players... There are ramifications here. We're talking as fans saying we can't have the Glazers in charge anymore. It's a disgrace, and it is. And you're right. Of course, you're right. But what about the players? What about the players? Like, what about the Paul Pogbas and the Bruno Fernandezes and the Anthony Martials and the David De Geas and the Luke Shaws and everyone like that? They love Manchester United because of you. They love the fans. They've got family and friends around them who obviously are saying to them, look, you know, you want, like Luke Shaw, as a kid, I dreamt of playing in the Champions League and the Premier League. He didn't probably dream of playing for Manchester United. I don't expect him to be a Man United fan, but he loves Man United. And he'll be fully aware of his background. And all those footballers will. And I think they will love playing for Manchester United because of the enormity of the club, the history of the club, and the fans of the club. They will love it. But they will also be, hold on a minute. As I said, I checked my tweet at lunchtime. I spoke about it at 4 o'clock. I was told by a very credible source at 1 o'clock today, in response to what I'd said this morning, that Manchester United players 100% are not happy about this Super League. They're very angry with the club. They've been put in a situation they didn't know about and they don't want to be in. And they're very, very frustrated. And that's the Manchester United players. I was also told about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer that I asked, I said, well, all right, that's about the players. What about the manager? And they said, well, do you think a manager of Manchester United is very happy when they've just been told out of the blue that you're going to be coming out of a tournament, the Champions League, to go and play in a new tournament when you're a player that's most iconic moment is scoring a goal in that tournament that you're not going to be in anymore? So Solskjaer wasn't happy either. So the problem also is the fans aren't happy with the Glazers and they want them gone. The fans aren't happy with Woodward and he's got to go, I think, sooner than the end of the year. But also, how do you think the players and the manager feel? They found out when we found out. They found out on Sunday night like we did. So you cannot trust these people. If you're Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and you're like, I've lost a couple of games, and they say, don't worry, Ollie, your job's safe. Oh, that's all right then. I'll buy that car knowing that I've got another couple of years. You can't trust them. The players can't trust them. And that is important because they can trust the fans. The fans, you can trust. You play well for this club. You know, you got the fans' loyalty. That's always the way it's going to be. That's what happens. But your employer, they can't trust their employer. They cannot trust their employer because their employer has been plotting. You know, we as fans feel betrayed about our club plotting to stab us all in the back. But imagine what it feels like as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Michael Carrick and the players. They knew nothing about this, and they are the face of the football club. When I think of Man United, I don't think of Ed Woodward, I don't think about the Glazers, I think about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I think about Marcus Rashford. And they've been absolutely treated like mushrooms, kept in the dark. So when it comes to renegotiating your contract, you've got to deal with Ed Woodward. You've got to deal with the Glazers, not the fans. You know, if we were the contract renewal people, we could do it live on the United Stand. Come in, Bruno. How much do you want? We'll put it to the live chat. How much should we give him? He'll have a big smile on his face. It'll be great. Tell Luke to come in. You know, but that's not going to happen. They're not going to have that unadulterated love and respect for you. They're going to go into a room with Ed Woodward and whoever else and negotiate. And I would say that there is big damage in that football club, which is why I think even the Glazers must surely know, and Ed Woodward obviously knows, that now is the time at the lowest points where trust is broken and they've tried to screw everybody over. Now is the time to say, we've had a good run. Let's cash our chips in and let somebody else have a go. And then if we can get new owners in, might be too late for Paul Pogba, but it probably wouldn't be too late for Bruno Fernandes or anybody else because you start afresh, you start anew, and the fans would be patient as well. George Vargas says, I'm genuinely worried about the next season. Will our players want to stay? Well, that was the good question, wasn't it? Said it last night, pal. They found out the board the hard way. Taking away our national sport wouldn't do. Meta monumentally ferocious backlash and the full weight of the government. Bright, you're absolutely right. And I do think, I don't have any facts on this. Thanks for joining the members club, Joe Doherty, as well. You can do that by clicking the join button if you want. You get your badge next to your name in the super chat, in the chat. Bye, Jay. Evening, Mark. Ollie's in the process of a rebuild. After all this, does he need to do another kind of rebuild job again? Look, in relation to rebuilds and titles, I'll be honest with you. The way I feel right now, I would take United starting in the National League without the Glazers. So if we can start in the Premier League without the Glazers, I'm more than happy to rebuild. I just want the club back. Love the fact that Maguire kicked off at Woodward and now he's gone, says Chris S. Well, Carlos, I think you're putting two and two together and getting 6 there. Ed Woodward's been planning to go for a while and he's not going till the end of the year. So that's not the thing that's done it. I don't even think the collapse of the Super League is why he's going. I think he's been planning to go for a while. But thanks for the super chat there, Carlos. Have the club pulled out the Super League or just Ed resigning with Joel being the CEO of the league? I can't see him wanting United to leave, says Nick. But they can't. What are they going to do? Real Madrid and Man United in the Super League? It can't work. They haven't got enough clubs. Bayern won't go in it. PSG won't go in it. Dortmund won't go in it. Chelsea have come out of it. The teams are coming out. It can't carry on. Let's push now for a public inquiry and get this into legislation so this infection never darkens our door again, says Bry. Keith, thanks for joining. I'm dreaming of all players and staff going on strike and refusing to play games. Quickest way to hurt share price and get Glazers to sell. The share price is dropping as well, having gone up. Do you think all teams should have a point deduction and ban from Europe for a year, says Super? Look, I don't mind if that happens because ultimately I don't want it to happen as a Manchester United fan because it looks like we'll get a bit of normality back in relation to on the pitch. But ultimately, our football club tried to sabotage football, and I do believe that there should be consequences. The consequences I would like is that the Glazers go and we just try and start and be a footballer club again. But if we did get sanctions, I don't think we will. I think at the end of the day, there's probably been a conversation with UEFA already and they've said if you stop doing it, you're welcome. And in fact, I think we heard that this afternoon. Welcome to the Members Club, Dave Page. Happy to see Glazers and Woodward's out, but fear for Ollie's job with new ownership. He's in the middle of a rebuild, says Abhishek. Abhishek, you're jumping too far ahead there. Welcome to Matt Wyman, Noah and Gabe. Thank you very much for joining the Members Club. Right, let's have a quick roundup of what's going on because there's so much going on. To be fair, it was Ollie's going... not Ollie's going. Woodward's gone, so he's going at the end. The collapse of the European Super League may well see the Glazers cash out. I think that's a big maybe, but hopefully. The Super League emergency meeting is ongoing right now. Man United will confirm Ed Woodward's resignation after the market closes in New York City. He was due to leave in December, but this was brought forward due to likelihood of it being leaked. It's not related to the Super League, and he leaves on amicable terms with the owners. Well, of course, in relation to that statement there, why would Ed Woodward not leave on amicable terms with the Glazers? I'm actually glad about that statement because I don't want it to be we've got rid of Ed because he was to do with this. It's very obvious that Ed Woodward and the Glazers were involved in the Super League because Joel Glazers is the chairman of the Super League and Ed Woodward is the chief executive of Manchester United. So they've worked together on it. So I'm very glad that there's an amicable parting of ways because all of them need to go. I wouldn't want to see Woodward thrown under the bus as, oh, look, he was the bad guy, he put this together. Because we know he's not the bad guy because Joel Glazer's involved and he's an owner. So they're both involved. They both need to go. And collectively, the Glazers need to go and Ed Woodward's going to go. That's what needs to happen. So I think if we get to that point, we've got our football club back. At the moment, I'm very, very, very happy that we are not going to be in the Super League. I think that's a win. But the bigger win is now reform in football and also at Manchester United. And look, I hope if Arsenal want Kroenke out and their owners, I hope Arsenal are going for it as well. I hope they are. And I hope if Liverpool feel the same about their owners, they go for it as well. Man City, Chelsea, I don't think they will do. Spurs, maybe they'll do it as well. I hope all those clubs push it. And maybe there's a battle to be won there. Maybe all Arsenal, Man United, Liverpool and Spurs, we put pressure on the government to bring things in. I really, really would love to see that. But in a more Manchester United focused way, I want to see Manchester United part ways with the Glazers. And that means the Glazers have got to sell us. And what I would say, if we are fortunate enough to get to that stage, they could sell us to anybody. And that's why we need the government to get involved, because we can't be allowed to go into the hands of wrong owners again. That we need reform in this great sport that we love. We've dodged the bullet, haven't we? We've dodged the bullet. We'll never know how we dodged this bullet, how close we came to taking the bullet. The Super League. Look, I'm tempted to I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I was going to do it on That's Football, so I'm going to do it here. This will make you feel good, because effectively last night Florentino Perez, as we know, was doing his press conference. And let me talk about Riola in a couple of minutes' time as well. Don't forget to remind me about Riola. But yeah, he was talking last night, Florentino Perez, as we know, and he was saying it's a league for the rich. No, it's a league that will save football. He was also saying the 15 founding clubs are the ones that matter the most in terms of entertainment. Others like Napoli, Roma have a chance to be in the competition if they want. Also talking about we've not invited PSG. Football needs to be more attractive to younger people now that have got other hobbies. Football is on the verge of ending. We've got to act quick. UEFA's new format is absurd. Nobody understands it. 16 to 24-year-olds fans don't have an interest in football anymore. The Super League is like the Champions League. The stuff that he was coming out with last night is ridiculous. And let's not forget that quote from yesterday in relation to a source attached to the Super League. Our primary job is to maximise revenue and profits. The wider good of the game is a secondary concern, i.e. we're here to make money, screw the fans and screw any other club that's not involved. So they were speaking very, very confidently about this. So there is a victory, of course there is. But I also wanted to come back to Riola. Now, apparently, the remaining European super clubs are in a crisis meeting right now to decide if they are to continue. How many we got left? Real Madrid, Manchester United, AC Milan, Inter Milan. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know who's left in. I don't know who's left in. Maybe Arsenal are still in. I don't know. So, yeah, I don't know. But look, it's very interesting, isn't it? Because we'll never know. We'll never know. Like Riola, Football Forum, all these agents were pro the European Super League because they could see the pound signs. You know, there's still a lot of poison in football. We're not home and hosed. And my fear is that we don't do the European Super League. There are no sanctions. Everybody stays in charge of Arsenal, Liverpool, Man United, Spurs. UEFA have offered them a better deal. And, UEFA and the clubs just keep getting rich and the fans keep getting poor because they have to pay for it. So, I really do hope that the governments continue their involvement in football because we can't necessarily... I never said UEFA were clean. I never said that FIFA were clean. I never said the Premier League were clean. I just preferred being in the Champions League and the Premier League because that's the Division 1 and the European Cup. That's what I want Man United to be in. I don't necessarily think that those bodies are perfect, but going into a Super League that was going to be governed by the teams that were in it was never right. And the structure of the tournament was never a competition. So we do need the reform, 100%. And let's not forget as well that people like Riola do want the... Does this mean your Super League career mode will stay? Says Shay. We might get a few more days yet, Shay, but we might be able to bring our Super League back because that was good fun. What do you think about Chelsea leaving, says Oscar? I think Chelsea... I mean, I do need to... I'm trying to find... I'm going to come back to that in a minute, the teams that have left, because there's a bigger conversation to have there. But just on Riola... And all these agents, they wanted the European Super League to happen because they wanted more freedom to earn money. Those people are still involved in football. They're still, they're still bad people. Not bad people, because again, it's not personal. But when it comes to the way football's run, and look, I also have to say here, I know that football clubs have lost a lot of money. Real Madrid and Barcelona needed this Super League. That they are in a league that's not very lucrative, and they're losing a lot of money. We're in a position where the Premier League is the best league in the world. I think the reason Perez was getting so excited about the Super League was because he could see his team being in a league like the Premier League with loads of money in it. And he knows that La Liga can never be that. But that's their own fault. Real Madrid and Barcelona take all the money, TV rights money. They take way more than everybody else. We share it out in our league. So the only reason Man City dominate the Premier League is because they've got rich owners. But the distribution of money in the Premier League is far better than any other league. We've got a good league, and the European Super League crashing is great news, because we keep our league and, we're in the Champions League and we don't have to go into this stupid, as I called it, some sort of weird fusion between the World Wrestling Federation and American football, because it's this playoff crap where you control everything yourself. I mean, as I said, I'm not going to go down that. What do you think about Chelsea leaving, says Oscar? We'll come to that. What did the Premier League expect? They are the ones that invited these American capitalists over here. Says Red Baron. Manchester United tweet, says Joshua Bellwater. How did the clubs get out of contracts they signed, though, says Gordon Murray? I don't know. I don't know about that. I mean, that's a very good point, because let's not forget, Perez was talking about the contracts being signed on Saturday and being binding. So, club statement from Manchester United. Okay, let's go with that. This is from Manchester United. It's a club statement. Manchester United has today... Sorry, let's have a look. It's now probably got so many people on it. Manchester United has today announced that Vice Chairman Ed Woodward will step down from his role at the end of 2021. I'm extremely proud to have served United, and it's been an honour to work for the world's greatest club for the last 16 years. The club is well positioned for the future, and it will be difficult to walk away at the end of the year. I will treasure the memories from my time at Old Trafford during a period. Then we won. We have invested more than $1 billion. I'm desperately want the club to win the Premier League during my tenure, and I'm certain the foundations are in place for us to win it back, our passionate fans. I mean, it's just, you know what, I'm not going to... I'm sorry, Ed, I'm not reading your quotes out. You're a snake, mate. I'm sorry, and I'm really sorry to have to say that, but why am I getting quotes about fans? I cannot. December, I'm going to peek out. He's got to go now. You know, how can Manchester United Football Club genuinely write an article and put it out talking about the great relationship, the good days, the great fans that we've got? You've literally absolutely thrown us into the crocodiles over the last 3 days, and we're meant to read an article about you, and you're going at the end of the year and you'll miss it, and it's been a great relationship and the fans are fantastic. Mate, you've just tried to destroy the football club. What? Who at Manchester United think that it's a good idea to put a statement out like that? I thought he was going now. He should be going now. You should be going now because you've done a crap job. You should be going now because you tried to destroy this football club. And yet we're meant to go, oh, he's going at the end of the year. Oh, let's have a whip round now so we can get him a nice present on his way out. You know, this football club, we're not out of that Super League yet either. I mean, this is what I just said. People are celebrating like they've got their club back. We're not going to be in the Super League. That's what we've got back. We've still got the people running our football club who have tried to destroy the football club. So we've not won anything really. Other people have won it for us. At the end of the day, we're not in the Super League because of Chelsea and everybody else who's decided to come out. Not anybody else. Manchester City have put a tweet out. Now this is probably more relevant. Manchester City have said that... confirmed that he's formally enacted the procedures to withdraw from the group developing plans for a Super League. So City have gone, Chelsea have gone. I don't know anybody else that's gone, but that's why we're celebrating tonight. I think if you're celebrating about Ed Woodward being gone, he's still going to be here for another 8 months. The Glazers are still in charge. These snakes that have been behind the players and the manager and the fans' back are coming out with statements like, oh, it's been a pleasure to be here. I'm sad to leave, but the fans are great. I've had a great time. Mate, you've just spent the last however long stabbing us all in the back, planning to, destroy this football club, and now you're still not going to go until December. We just get played. We get absolutely played. But big shout out to Manchester City. Big shout out to Chelsea, because if they don't pull out, we're still in at the moment. We are still in it at the moment. We constructed this. So big shout out to them. Welcome to the Members Club, Abdurrahman. Happy Mark, I know I am. Have you seen the FSG have to sell Liverpool if the Super League falls through? Hopefully Glazers have to do the same. So Steve Locke. I don't know about that. Mark, I'm living the new Super League knockout stages. Chelsea, Man City and Woodward are already out, says Vincent McDonnell. Mark, you're a legend. Please take care of health. What has transpired today is positive, and I'm sure better days lie ahead, says Karan. Matt Judge should be let go. UEFA, Premier League, FA need to impose reform on football agents. There should be budget caps for all teams, sanctions to impose on greedy agents. I mean, look, you know what? One thing I would say is there was one or two things, which there always is going to be. You know, there's always two sides to a coin. There was one or two things about the Super League that I didn't mind. You know, referees with an earpiece in. That I mean, anybody can do that, but it would be nice to bring it in. And then the cap on agent fees I quite liked. I don't agree with the wage cap, by the way. And the Super League was on about bringing in a wage cap for players. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that, because where does the rest of the money go? It goes to the owners. I know there's a lot of money in football. There is a lot of money in football, but ultimately, I'm a firm fan that people pay money to watch football. People pay money for shirts because they like that player. The money should go to the players. It just shouldn't go to the agents. Man City, breaking news on the TV there, have confirmed that they formally enacted the procedures to withdraw from the European Super League. How they're going to get out of it, I don't know. Apparently, is there a Liverpool tweet coming in as well? Hopefully there is. I think everybody should be tweeting now, because at the end of the day, Liverpool have put out a message saying that we don't like it, we don't want it to happen, this is our collective position, our commitment to this football club and its supporters is absolute and unconditional. I don't know what he's saying. Let's have a look at what Jordan Henderson said. Yeah, so Liverpool have done something as well. Manchester United players, I'm sure, will do something. But to be fair, I think Harry Maguire and Bruno Fernandes and Marcus Rashford and Luke Shaw have already done everything that we need them to do. And if the players want to come out and do some more, that's fantastic. Let's have a look. So much going on. Raheem Sterling says, okay, bye. Joel Glazer, Ed Woodward says his contribution to the club has been massive and he'll always be welcome at Old Trafford as a part of the Man United family. Bullshit. You're not welcome, mate. So I don't know what you're talking about. What family are you talking about? I tell you what, I wouldn't want to be in your family, Joel. He's welcome as part of the Man United family. The only Man United family I know is people like Sir Alex Ferguson, Sir Bobby Charlton, the fans and the players and the manager and the coaching staff, and the staff who work at that club who aren't your mercenary greedy people. That's the Man United family, and you're not part of it, because if you were part of it, you don't treat your family like you've treated us over the last 3 days. You don't do that. You don't. You're not even part of the Manchester United family, so don't say that you and Ed Woodward are part of it, because you can't do that. Just laughing at somebody there. I can't read that out, to be fair. Alexander Seferon, who I think is the UEFA president, says that on Manchester City they've shown great intelligence in listening to the many voices, most notably their fans, that have spelled out the vital benefits that the current system has for the whole of European football. Yeah. We welcome Manchester City back to the UEFA family. So yeah, Manchester City will still be in the Champions League, of course, as well. Paddy Power with us. I've got to read this out. It's quite funny. A bit of comedy is always good. Breaking news. After consultation with all 32 of their fans, Man City have formally enacted the procedures to withdraw from the Super League. Lovely stuff. Get the rivalry back. Get the passion back. Get the interest back. Of course, that's very important. But also, get our football club back. Get our football club back. Look, we think we've won. We think we've won something here that we actually haven't won. Somebody else has won this for. I mean, look, I'm very, very happy that Man United will be playing in the Premier League next season and the Champions League, because yesterday, even a few hours ago, I didn't think that was going to happen, because Perez and United were acting like they did reenacted Order 66, Star Wars fan shout out. That literally, if you've ever seen Revenge of the Sith, where the Empire enact Order 66, that's basically what we've seen over the last few days. We're all there fighting bad people, and then the people who we think are on our side come and kill us and stab us in the back. So they've Manchester United are the people that ordered this change. It's only because of teams like Man City and Chelsea that this Super League has collapsed. It's not collapsed because of us, has it? And Ed Woodward's not resigning because of this. Ed Woodward's not going till Christmas. Ed Woodward's still going to be here when Santa's emptying his sack. And the Glazers are putting out messages about what a great job Ed Woodward's done, and he's part of the Man United family. I mean, they're living in a dream world. I mean, are we meant to be asleep then for the last 3 days, or can somebody just tell me if I've got this wrong? Because before I start saying, we're going to miss you, Ed, and yeah, we've got the Glazers in charge, this is great. Can somebody tell me if I've got this bit wrong? Now, correct me if I'm wrong. On Sunday, just before we played Burnley, we heard that Manchester United were going to go into a Super League and turn their back on the European Cup and the Premier League. And as part of that deal, we were going to go and play in a league that turns its back on its local fans, turns its back on the history, turns it back on all its fans, actually, not just its local fans. And what I meant by that is that we would probably end up playing home games in New York and Singapore and, exhibition games and draft transfers. An uncompetitive league where it doesn't matter whether you win the league or not, you go into the playoffs, you can finish bottom and you'd still be in it next year. They didn't tell the players, they didn't tell the fans, they didn't consult anybody, and they were doing it, and it didn't matter what anybody thought. That's pretty much what I thought the Glazers and Ed Woodward had signed us into, and signed us up as well before anybody knew about it. And yet here we are now, when it's all collapsed, meant to be going, oh, Ed's resigning. Oh, come on. The Glazers are still in charge. Oh, that's a good thing. So, no. Go now. Go now. And Glazers sell now. But I don't think this is going to happen. I don't think this is going to happen. I don't think the Glazers are going to sell at all. I think Man United, we are still in a very bad situation. It's better than it was a few hours ago that the Super League's not going to happen. But we're still the architects of the Super League, and we've still got people in charge of it, of this football club, who absolutely have shown no respect for us at all. So, it's there's still a big battle ahead, and we've still got the same old problems. We've still got the same old problems, haven't we? We're still in the Boris Johnson had a meeting with a few United fans over Zoom in the morning to discuss on implementing legislation. The mood was so strong on the ground from them. Says that's coming through. Hopefully that's going to happen then. That would be great. Let's have a look what else is going on here. It's a long road when you're on your own. Do 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 do. So as things stand, and look, it's very difficult because there's so much news out there. But as things stand, I think we're in a situation whereby Man City have obviously said that they're not going to go. They're going to go, and Chelsea. Does anybody know of anybody else? Barcelona as well. They will go because they're going to have a vote. Have you read the statement of Ed Woodward? I'm not reading the statement of Ed Woodward, Rob, because it will make me get very angry. I've got no interest in Ed Woodward's statement unless Ed Woodward's statement says, I'd like to apologise for trying to destroy this football club and its history, and I'm resigning with immediate effect. That's all he needs to say. And I know it doesn't say that because it's a lot bigger than that, and I know it says things about our great fans and everything like that. I'm sorry, everyone. Look, I wish Ed Woodward all the best. I don't wish him in any ill health or harm or anything like that. I get it, it's business, but I also get what they've tried to do to this this great football club with this Super League, and I'm not interested in anything. You're trying to polish a turd, and I don't want to smell it. I don't. Unless you're going to apologise for what you've done, I don't want to hear about what a great time you've had. First ever super chat didn't get read by Flex. United share price down by 6%. Your opinion on punishment? 12 points in a transfer ban. There'll be no punishment, Joe. There will be no punishment because UEFA are already saying welcome back to Man City. So UEFA will just be happy to have us back. Let's talk about how Florentino confidently said there's no way that these clubs can back away from this now. La Liga has become a comedy show, says Mario. Oh, Perez. You know what? On a serious note, I worry about Perez because he's in his 70s, isn't he? Now, he's either going to be absolutely stressed out to the hilt tonight because he can't believe it's fallen apart, or he was deluded from the start. News coming in that the Glazers are considering selling Man United. Until they do, it's a bit like, until they're holding up the shirt, I won't believe it. This was a typical value-add asset business plan from the beginning with the Glazers. Cash flow while you make plans for a huge capital event, says 6782 Anthony. The true tragedy of all this is that this could be forgotten. This ranks up where with the football's most awful events, says Bree Shaw. Welcome to the Members Club, Shallin. Atletico apparently are also out as well, although I'm not 100%. I'm not 100%. People are saying Arsenal and Liverpool are out. I've not seen anything about that at the moment. The only two I know that are coming out are Man City and Chelsea, and we were sort of linked to that before. Hold on, let me just check my messages. I realise I've been very reliant on Twitter tonight and live chats, and as you know, a lot of my information comes in. That way. See everyone for a nicely timed walk outside the Emirates on Friday, 6 p.m, says Ryan. And what was the point of this? There was no way this was happening. Fans hold the key and they must know this is Babaf. I think that's a bit arrogant, Babaf. I mean, I've got to be honest. There was times when this was going on, and you definitely listened to people like Carragher, and he was genuinely worried as well. Like, there was times when I was like, shit, this is so... You know, I almost thought they've made such a big mistake that they clearly know they're going to get away with it. Because it was like, what are you doing? How could you do this? And I thought, there was times where I thought over the last three days, and I'm sure some of you felt the same, this is so wrong, they must have it sewn up. And, you know, ultimately I thought, you know, if you think about it in footballing terms, I thought if this is a goal chance, it's like they are 2 yards out past the keeper with an open goal. It's just an easy tap in. At times I thought it must be like that. And what's really happened is it's just a goal kick. Like, they're nowhere near the goal. If the Premier League allow the 6 teams to play in the Premier League and the Super League, then what is the problem with that? Says Nishant. Don't know what that means. Mark, United won't leave the Super League until it collapses because every team that leaves will face a fine, says Lewis Smith. And Mark, isn't it hypocritical to say you don't agree with the wage cap, but you always complain about the wages of some of the players? No, it's not hypocritical at all, Israel. It's not hypocritical at all. What I'm saying is that if there's money in football, then people should get the wages. Our wage bill is ridiculous because we overpay players. I don't mind David De Gea getting 350k a week if that's the going rate for a good player. What I do mind is giving Phil Jones 100 grand a week when he can't be fit. Mark, United won't leave the Super... I mean, I don't know about that, whether that happens. City fans were bound to come out at some point, says Kian Daly. Mark, what about our debt and sell our club? Who is servicing the Glazers' debt? Says Andy and Bruno. Yep. Woodward out already. Probably Agnelli from Juve as well. Atletico and Barcelona out, says Powell. Perez is going to be president of my hometown club in Sweden that plays in Division 5 after this, and we don't want him either. We will donate him back, says Einstein. Let's have a quick look. There's so much going on. In the meeting between the South Super clubs is over. FC Barcelona and have decided to stay in the Super League. Man City have left and Chelsea have doubts. Ooh. Interesting. So Man City have left. Chelsea have doubts. Barcelona and Atletico Madrid have decided to stay in the Super League. So it's still ongoing at the moment. The club is well positioned for the future. It was difficult to work out at the end of the year, says Ed Woodward. Okay, let's have a look here. So, Man City are the only club to officially leave the Super League. Everyone else is still on the meet. Okay. Chelsea need to come out as well. I think it's the beginning of the end of it. I think it's the big, and this is what I mean. This is what I mean about this. People get very excited about Ed Woodward leaving, but has he actually left? No, he's not going till December. And Mac the Knife, who is a top lad, and he's a top red, to be fair. He probably wouldn't want to be called a top red. He put out there, and I said bullshit weeks ago, that Ed Woodward's going to leave. So he's right. So this is a planned exit by Ed Woodward at the end of the year. This is not a sacking because the Super League may collapse. So, you know, Woodward gone is right. The end of the Super League, I believe this is the end of the Super League. I do. Because I think Man City are coming out. And that's one crack already. Liverpool players have come out with a very, very open tweet that they don't want it. So they're going to come out. They are going to come out. So the Super League is going to not happen. Man City have come out. Chelsea have got their doubts. Liverpool players have come out and said they do not want it, and that's their captain. So, you know, there may be more battles ahead, but it's going to end. Welcome to the Members Club, Sacrifice. Ollie won't make a statement till his press conference on Friday. So it's not quite the victory people think, but I would say this. I think it's the beginning. I think it is going to be the end of the Super League. Liverpool apparently lost a sponsor. Hi Mark, now that the Super League isn't going to happen, will you stay on the United stand? Yeah, because I feel like Manchester United will carry on in the tradition of being in the Premier League and the European Cup. Although at the moment that's not official. Sakir has vowed to go further and is even talking about the enforcement of an existing law which could mean the compulsory purchase of United, says Grumpy Dave Gaming. Good. You know, it needs to carry on. It needs to carry on. I don't want it to stop. I don't want it to stop. Man City is the only team to have left, as we know. I mean, Liverpool fans, just if Liverpool is still part of the Super League, right? For anybody who's worried that the European Super League or the Super League or the shit Super League or whatever it's called is going to go ahead. Man City have come out. I'll explain to you why I think it's dead. Man City have come out, right? So you've got Man City, PSG, Bayern Munich and Dortmund not in it. In it, you've got, and I'm talking big clubs, in it, so you've got 4 big clubs, I think, not in it. Dortmund, Bayern, PSG and Man City. And Dortmund are a big club, quarter-finalist in the Champions League, they're a big club, 4 at 4, right, okay? In it, you've got Barcelona, Real Madrid, Manchester United, Liverpool and Juventus, 5. It's 5 against 4. Now, Inter Milan, AC Milan, Arsenal, Spurs, Atletico Madrid. All right. But they're not those. And I think that it's not a Super League if it hasn't got PSG, Bayern Munich. And to be fair, Man City, Pep Guardiola, the squad they've got, one of the best teams in the world. So it's crumbling. It's not a Super League. And if they want to go ahead and run a Super League without those clubs, then I don't think it's going to work. People will watch it, but I don't think you're going to get loads watching it. On top of that, you've also got one of the clubs is still in. Man City are coming out. You've also got one of the clubs in the Super League whose captain and players are basically endorsing a tweet that says, we don't like it, we don't want it to happen, that's our collective position, our commitment to this football club and its supporters is absolute and unconditional, you'll never walk alone. Every Liverpool player is tweeting out, we don't want it to happen. Now, Manchester United players, need to follow suit in a more firm way, but we've already seen it from Luke Shaw. We know Harry Maguire's involved. We know Marcus Rashford's involved. So the players don't want it. They don't want it. And, Barcelona and Real Madrid are staying in the Super League. I'm not surprised. And I think sometimes things don't just fall like that. They don't. It will probably take a little bit more time, but it will happen. It will happen. I'm absolutely sure it's going to happen. And this is what I'm talking about. We've got to keep it up. We've got to keep, even if the Super League ended tonight, we still want the Glazers out. We still want reform. In many ways, I think this is the end of the Super League because of what Man City's done. And can I just say as well, I've been very critical of Manchester City, their owners, Pep, the easy ride, the open checkbook, ruining football. Man City, in many ways, are the catalyst, and Chelsea, and I've said it about them as well with Abramovich's millions. Those two clubs are the saviour of our club and football because they're the first two. They're the brave ones to get out. Yeah, Liverpool might come out at some point. Arsenal might come out. Juventus might come out. I don't think United will come out until it's absolutely dead in the water. But our football club, in the way that we want it to play, in the leagues that we want it to play, let's be honest, are going to be saved by Man City and Chelsea. Now, look, Man City and Chelsea signing up for it for the first place is wrong. But, as I said before, Darth Vader turned at the end. You can still be good at the end. And, it's not us coming out of this. We've got a tweet tonight, or we've got a message from Man United tonight. Oh, Ed Woodward's going at the end of the year. We'll wish him all the best. You've got a statement from Joel Glazer whilst he's still trying to keep the Super League, which shits all over the club. The hypocrisy is unbelievable. Really unbelievable. Chelsea haven't left. Chelsea haven't left. They're still in. It's Man City who are trying to come out. But other clubs are going to follow. I had heard that Barcelona will go. Because they've got to put a vote. During tonight's Super League meeting, Chelsea have not confirmed to the other clubs that they're leaving. They only expressed some doubts about the project. And it's important to note that 11 of the 12 clubs still remain despite all reports and any resignations. So Man City out. Chelsea fans were at Chelsea tonight celebrating and cheering, but they're not out yet. They're not out yet. In relation to Chelsea-Brighton, it's 0-0, by the way. Which, again, football doesn't really come back into the equation yet until we get this sorted. But so, look, the exciting news that it was, I will take. I personally, you can take it as you want, but let's have a summary here. So, we know the last 3 days. Manchester United, its history, its fans, its players, stabbed in the back by the owners who've been behind everybody's back to rip the soul out of this football club and turn it into a franchise that does God knows what, God knows where, but doesn't do European Cups and Premier Leagues anymore. This is the plan. This is the Super League. That's what we thought. That's what we thought we were fighting against. And then tonight we start to hear rumours that Chelsea are going to pull out. We start to hear rumours that Man City are going to pull out. We then hear that Ed Woodward is leaving Manchester United. Everybody starts partying. Some people get pissed. But then, as I said, until somebody... I've learnt over the years, until someone's holding up the shirt, don't believe the initial news. The news has now transpired that Chelsea is still in the Super League. 11 of the 12 clubs are still in the Super League, and Man City are the only one to go. And Ed Woodward is not leaving because of the European Super League. He is leaving because he was going to go anyway, and he's not going till the end of the year. So this big victory that we've got our club back, as I said about half an hour ago, isn't... the victory is not there yet. The victory is not there yet. The Super League will collapse. It will. We need the government to continue looking at what they were going to look into in relation to ownership. We need Woodward to go quicker than December, and we need the Glazers to put this club up for sale ASAP. At the moment, I don't think there's very much chance of that, because when they're putting official statements out on the Manchester United website about what a great job Ed Woodward's done and how he's part of the Man United family, and there's quotes from Joel Glazer, that doesn't sound to me like a club that's desperate to sell or panicking. That looks to me like a club that is still treating its members and fans as a bunch of prats. I mean, what organisation puts a statement out praising Ed Woodward, saying how he's part of the Man United family and what a great job he's done, and puts quotes up from Ed Woodward? That's been sanctioned probably in the last few hours from those people. They know how angry the fan base is. They know how angry the world of football is, and yet they still put an article like that out. We are still in this Super League, and the only reason the Super League is going to collapse is not because of Manchester United. Man United haven't decided to do the right thing. Man City have decided to do the right thing. My club's an embarrassment. My club is trying to destroy football. Manchester City, all right, you never should have signed up in the first place, but at least you're trying to do the right thing. Barcelona's members will vote on it, and Laporta knows full well they will vote against it, hence the no-fee exit clause. He was voted in so the fans could have their say. We've despised Perez long before all of this, says Jacob. You want to be my CEO, Marky Boy, says Conor McGregor. If it's the real one, I'd love to, mate. And hi, Mark. Thank you for your great content. I've followed you since 2020 when my mental health relapsed badly. I want you to know that you helped me, says David Crackman. I mean, just on that, I just want to say that very, 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 very importantly, I do want to say that no word of a lie, this has been absolutely exhausting, hasn't it, for everybody? And we have, Manchester United, as I said many a times, have done some great things over the last year about lots of different projects, but they've absolutely destroyed all that by putting your fans through mental torture. And I know that sounds like a really severe word, but don't tell me that football fans can be crying when we have these tragedies, or we commemorate these tragedies, and crying happy tears when we have these amazing moments, but then they can't be mentally distraught by what you're doing to those memories, by what you're going to do with the Super League. The club can sign up for any positive campaign they ever want to in the future, but whilst you've got these people in charge, it will always be bullshit. How can you get behind any campaign and say United supports this, United supports that, and yet you've inflicted such mental torture and pain on your fans over the last 3 days? You've not consulted them, you've not offered to support them, you've barely put a bloody tweet out. I know myself how I felt. I know a lot of United fans who've cried, been depressed by this because football's so important to them. Has there been any hotline mentioned by Man United? Has there been any like support put up by Manchester United? Any explanation put up by Manchester United? I think, what the governments are trying to do, what fans are trying to do is fantastic. But not everybody is is strong enough to deal with this. And I don't mean like strong enough to just like go out there and start protesting or put a petition together or write a letter. Some people deal with things in different ways, and some people have just been really, really, of all clubs, distraught by this. And where's Manchester United's duty of care there for their fans? Absolutely nothing. Some clubs even had the balls to put the tweet out that, we're going to join it. Man United barely did that. The treatment of fans on a very serious level has been very, very poor. I mean, recently they brought in the very good campaign in relation to racism and equality in football. From Manchester United. Report it on the website. Brilliant. But what are you doing for your fans that you've inflicted all this mental torture over the last few days? Where's your hotline to support them? You've done this. Manchester United Football Club have done this to your fans. You do all these campaigns, great work, but you've shit all over your fans, and you've genuinely, I'm not joking, you've genuinely caused many upon many of your fans mental torture, upset, depression, and you've done fuck all about it. Nothing. You've just stayed quiet. So don't ever come out with a campaign again and say Man United supports this when it doesn't even support its own fans. You've constructed this European Super League. Take bloody responsibility for it. I don't want it to happen. But you want it to happen. You know people don't want it to happen. You know it's going to cause them trauma. Why didn't you have a plan in place to deal with that? You know, we're going to do this. We think it's great. We think it's good for this reason, you know, but we want to support our fans through the process. We want to educate them. Nothing. Don't you think this was part of the plan? This morning we heard UEFA increasing to 7 billion and now all of a sudden they are leaving. Well, Harim, at the moment they're not. Evening Mark, Sky before Chelsea game was asking Thomas Tuchel and he was accurate and replied he's just preparing for games and attempting to get top 4, says Andy and Bruno. Femi, I'm not comparing fighting racism. You see, you always get the prats, don't you? So Femi's saying, stop comparing fighting against racism to this, please. You're not listening, Femi. And unfortunately, I can't deal with that. Manchester United's campaign against racism and is absolutely spot on. It's very, very good. I'm not saying it's not. But what I'm saying is that to support all these great campaigns and do so much work around it is commendable. But to then do what you've done over the last few months, for last few days to your fan base is disgusting. So in no way is this comparable to racism. I don't even know what you're talking about. What I'm talking about is the football club has absolutely bottled it in relation to its protection and duty of care of its fans. Because fans are genuinely suffering with what they've done over the last 3 days and they've washed their hands of them. That's what I'm saying. How you can compare that to what you've just said there, I don't know. But it's a serious accusation and I've hit it head on because I'm not comparing it to that. I'm just saying the club, you know, last year when we had COVID, the club was very, very supportive and did great things around NHS and things like that. The club's been very good and there's some very good people working in that football club who work tirelessly and they've got themselves behind and they've worked very hard around many campaigns. But what I'm saying is they've absolutely neglected their fans over the last 3 days. You know, the most important people at the club, and they've not done anything about it. Chelsea is clearly leaving, says Roman. Man City's super lawyers just got paperwork sorted first. Barcelona and Atletico are staying in the Super League. Man City have officially withdrawn. The Zoom meeting with the owners ended, says Danny. Hector Bellerin has posted something on Twitter opposing the Super League. Fair play to him, considering Arsenal are more inconsistent than Newcastle, says Sean. Mark, do you have any news if my disgrace of a club is leaving? If not, I'm switching to West Ham, says Zane. Chelsea and City are the only ones who can afford to get out, says Lord Andre. Well, look, this is the very interesting thing, because this is where Perez is going to come out tonight, I think, and with all guns blazing. It's not over yet, of course. It isn't over yet. And we'll have to see what he said, but Man City are out, and I think they will tumble. But we may not be at the end of this journey yet. Unfortunately, we may not be at the end of this journey yet. So yeah, I mean, as I said, it's not the big happy news we hoped for, to be honest, but it's a step forward, and sometimes you have to. As Man United fans, we're fully aware of this. Sometimes you've got to take 2 steps forward to take 1 step back, and we've certainly taken a step forward. I wouldn't even focus. I wouldn't even focus too much on the fact that. Woodward's gone, because I don't really think. I think that's a bit of a red herring with Woodward, because he's not going because of the European Super League collapsing, because it's not collapsed at the moment. We're still in it. Everybody's still in it. Callum, Tottenham are firmly still in it. They're not coming out. Arsenal are firmly still in it. So the only team to come out of it at the moment is Manchester City. And maybe Man City are playing a clever game, because they know it's going to. They know it's going to happen. They probably know it's going to collapse, and they're trying to get out before the sanctions come in. Apparently, there's a tweet from the FA. Let's have a look. Why does the FA not come up on Twitter as a search? Let's have a look. Statement from the FA. We welcome the news that some of the clubs have decided to abandon the plans for the European Super League, which threaten the whole pyramid of football. English football has a proud history based on opportunity for all the club, and the game has been unanimous in its disapproval of a closed league. It was a proposition that by design could have divided our game, but instead it has unified us all. We would like to thank the fans in particular for their influential and unequivocal voice during this time. Holding true the guiding principles of football is a powerful reminder that the game is and always will be for the fans. We would also like to thank the Prime Minister, Secretary of State and Sports Minister for their unwavering and critical support against these plans. I mean, look, bit premature, MFA. I think you're right. I think it will be the end of it, but it's not yet. And also, you're acting like we've won, and I want to see more. I want to see a lot more than that, to be honest with you. The FA statement after Man City does withdraw refers to clubs. But within an hour of Chelsea's decision to pull out of the plans, Ed Woodward's resignation from the club has been confirmed. There were moves to protect Woodward's reputation. It emerged he will stay on until role under 2020-21. Some sources indicated he'd previously been considering his position. Others even said that he's personally been against the Super League plan. He remained personally committed to the UEFA reforms of the Champions League. Bollocks. Just protecting Ed Woodward, isn't it? You can't be chief executive of Manchester United and against the Super League plan, but still be in it. Like, he runs the bloody club, I'm afraid. That's how it goes. But at the moment in time, it's still only Man City who are out. A sponsor of Liverpool, I think, has come out and said that they're going to pull out as well. I mean, look, I think all those options are on the table. Barcelona maintain their position and deny that they're considering withdrawal. They continue to think the Super League is a great opportunity for both sportingly and economically, so they have not made any movement to abandon the competition promoted by Perez. And a lot of people are saying, let's use this opportunity to make it a better place. The meeting between the 12 super clubs is over. FC Barcelona and have decided to stay in, as we know. Atletico Madrid are heavily invested in the Super League and would only leave if everyone else leaves. Chelsea are obviously playing football at the moment. They're about to draw with Brighton, which is quite interesting, isn't it? Liverpool Super League team drew with Leeds. Chelsea Super League team drawing with Brighton. What's so super about this Super League? No one seems to be able to win. What are we thinking then, everybody? What are we thinking? Mark, apparently players, Harry Maguire among them, have confronted Woodward at Carrington and stood up for Ollie for being thrown under the bus to face the media in regards to the Super League. Good. So that's delicate official. Hi, Marky Ball. Absolutely buzzing with the news. We'll be celebrating with the old Kenny Dalglish tonight, if you know what I mean, says Sam Black. Also, are we actually out of it now, says Jordan White. No, we're not. Moves to protect Ed's reputation. Like, which reputation is that? Mark, maybe Ed may give you an interview now, eh? No chance. No chance. That's not going to happen. I'm not bothered about it happening either, to be honest with you. Please, oh God, we're nearly at 20,000 likes. Might be a historic United Stand video that people can watch in future years. If you're watching from 2030, hello. I understand that we've now won Premier League for the last 3 years in a row, Champions League for the last 2. The Glazers left in May 2021, and we got taken over by nice billionaires who just wanted us to be successful. Welcome from 2030. We can dream. We can dream. Please subscribe, by the way, bottom right-hand corner. Chelsea are out, apparently, which is contrary to what people are saying, but let's have a look. That's a long way. No, I've not heard anything about this at all. Nothing at all. I'm afraid there's nothing about Chelsea being officially out at the moment. We must take pride in the fact that players don't even want this. We are football, says Bryce Shaw. So we're still fighting the fight. We are still fighting the fight at the moment. But as I said, there are big positives from where we have been over the last few days. I wouldn't get too excited about Ed Woodward going because he's not going till the end of the year and he's still very much part of Manchester United being in the Super League, and we are still in the Super League, and we would still be in the Super League till the very end unless what was happening was happening. Big shout out to Manchester City and hopefully Chelsea for coming out because they will lead to the disintegration of this Super League. Or even if it goes ahead, it will become... I mean, imagine how shit the Super League's going to be if Chelsea and Man City come out. That's Chelsea, Man City, PSG, Bayern, Dortmund. That's 5 of the top 8 clubs in the world at the moment not in it. So it's not a Super League, is it? It's an average league. But the fact that Liverpool players are all tweeting that they don't want to be in it basically undermines Liverpool being in it, doesn't it? Because how are Liverpool going to be in this tournament when their entire squad don't want to be in it? How do Liverpool go into a Super League when they don't want to be in it? All right. You know, you've got American owners. They're not from Liverpool. So, you know, they'll be I mean, I don't mean there's anything wrong with American owners, by the way. I don't want that to come across like that. But what I mean is Liverpool Football Club Liverpool is very unique as a city and very unique personalities. And some United fans would say, I know what you mean by unique. But what I actually mean is that take great pride in their city, take great pride in their football club. And if the fans don't want Liverpool to be in this Super League and the players don't want to be in this Super League, how do American owners take Liverpool into a Super League? It won't work. So Liverpool have got a big problem. Hopefully Manchester United, we can keep the pressure on. That's a big problem. Man City are already out. Chelsea want to come out. Arsenal and Spurs, I mean, God knows. Deal with your clubs, Arsenal and Spurs fans, which I'm sure you will. Glad to see the back of Woodward. Can we get Van der Sar in to replace him and get our club back on track, says Faisal. I wouldn't mind Van der Sar coming in as CEO. I would like to say that Arsenal will pull out quick, but no, my club and owner, I'm thinking, will be one of the last, says Bart. Yeah, but you know what? Arsenal, money. Manchester United, money. Daniel Levy, obviously money. Do Man City need the money? No. Do Chelsea need the money? No. They're the 2 richest clubs out of the English clubs. So maybe that's why Man City or Chelsea are coming out. They're probably saying, look, we don't really need the money. I think with Man City and Chelsea, they've signed up for it because they thought they were going to miss out on something. And to be fair, Man City and Chelsea didn't create this. This was created by, they reckon it was created by Real Madrid, Barcelona, Manchester United and Liverpool. And Arsenal. They reckon they were the 5. Because wasn't there a picture of the owners of those clubs all together? I think what happened is that those clubs constructed it and then they went round to people and said, do you want to be involved in it? And Man City and Chelsea probably thought, shit, if we say no and they use somebody else and we're on the outside looking in, we're screwed. So they've probably signed up to it. And then when it's kicked off, they've gone, bloody hell. We didn't sign up for this. We don't even really need the money. We're rich anyway. I'm happy to see him leave, says Abdullah. Will there be a change of ownership at Manchester United now due to the failure of the Super League? Also, which United players have come out in opposition to this, says Salah Ahmed. Officially, Rashford and Luke Shaw and Bruno and Harry Maguire. I don't think Harry Maguire's done it officially, but I think we know Harry Maguire's involved in what's been going on with Jordan Henderson as the captain of the club. So, yeah. If United stay in the Super League, I'll personally fly from Norway to Manchester, find the Glazers and convince them to sell the club in our heart, says Noah. Despite the club's starting chance of the minds, I still think they should get punished, says Carlos. Look, you know what? If I'm absolutely honest, I hope that Perez comes out tonight and says, no, it's still going ahead. Because it's not going ahead. It's not going ahead. It's going to crash. But the longer it takes for it to crash, the more sanctions will be looked at, the more restrictions will be put in place. So in a way, it might not be a bad thing if it takes a little bit longer for it to all crash down. Yeah, I do need a stretch. Tyler Robinson, thanks for the super chat there. Somebody said, are you happy, Mark? I mean, I am happier than I was yesterday and a few hours ago because Man City have come out. I'm very happy with some of the things the players have done and the managers have done. James Milner, Pep Guardiola, Jordan Henderson, Luke Shaw, Marcus Rashford, Harry Maguire, Bruno Fernandes. There are others. I'm very happy about that, but the war is not won. I would say that this is a battle, and in any war, there's quite a few battles, and I think there's still a lot of battles to be won. But I think we're heading in the right direction. We're definitely in a better position than we were last night. So we are heading in the right direction. How could they not see this coming? They must have known it would not go over with the players or the fans, says Zalaran. So Man City are out. Somebody just said, can you give us a very, very quick summary? Man City are out. So 11 of the 12 are still in. Man City are out. We think Chelsea are going to come out. The Liverpool squad are saying that they don't want it to happen. So Liverpool can be in it if they want, but their fans don't want it and the players don't want it. Liverpool's situation is really, really encouraging. Well done, Man City, for coming out. Fair play. Liverpool players, well done. United, behind the fans, we don't want to do it. United are sort of getting there in relation to the players, and I think they will get there. But we're still in it. So I think Liverpool will come out. I do. But there might be a battle to get Liverpool out, a longer battle. And for us, I think the same. But ultimately, Man United don't want to come out. Real Madrid don't want to come out. Do they? They want to stay in. Just wanted to say thank you, Mark. We support different clubs, but your passion in regard to this is beyond relatable for me, and I'm sure fans of many clubs. Keep it up on here with the United fans, and that's football, says Jacob Allen. Thanks for the super chat, mate. All the clubs who chose to stay in should be like Rangers. Send them down to the leagues and make them come back, says King. And until I see an official statement from every Big Six club saying they will pull out, I'll struggle to believe these journalist reports, says Study Power. I don't get Perez role. Would the next president of Real become president of the European Super League if it happens? Says Kill. Probably. Well, I don't know. Most turbulent 48 hours I've ever known. 1990 England in Turin, sitting on my dad's knee crying. Football gives us levels of emotion that cannot be placed. Football will always win, says Bry Shaw. Thanks for the super chats, Bry, by the way. I'm just... Saul Niguez has spoken against it as well, apparently. Obviously an Atletico Madrid player. Apparently Sir Alex Ferguson was not happy with the way the club exposed Solskjaer after the game on Sunday by not briefing him as well. Sources indicate that Juan Mata and David De Gea were aggrieved by Man United's failure to communicate the plan before the news broke on Sunday evening. Man United players who, like Solskjaer, felt their manager had been thrown under the bus. So big up Juan Mata and David De Gea if that is true. I mean, obviously, as I said this morning, you've got to be very careful about paper reports because if it was a transfer story, sometimes it might not be true. An emotional rollercoaster last few days. 0-0 for Chelsea in their game. On a more bigger scale, I just want to say as well, finally justice for George Floyd. He's the person who did it, who I don't really want to name, has finally been found guilty of his murder. Obviously, this was a big, massive event last year where where George lost his life because he was effectively, as we all know, murdered by that police officer who has now been found guilty, which is great news as well. Let's have a look here as well. I think I'm right in saying, unless anybody can confirm other way, I think we are going to get a statement from Florentino Perez at some point. Apparently, he's going to be talking in the next few minutes. Solskjaer was only informed of the club's intentions shortly before kick-off against Burnley. Owing to their strong relationship, it is likely that Ferguson would have consulted the club's manager before intervening publicly. Ferguson was unhappy by the way the club's current manager had been left to fend questions from broadcasters and journalists. United's hierarchy lost the support of the club's most successful manager, who voiced his opposition to the heist on Sunday evening. And soon after the takeover completed, he became the family's chief of staff and eventually rose to the position of that's about Ed Woodward, isn't it? Not fucking interested in that prat, to be fair. Mark, sadly, Glazers will just drag our football club through the sewer until the bitter end, as they don't care and never have, says Andy and Bruno. I don't think that the positivity around Woodward going is actually the positivity that matters. At this moment in time, I don't think it's that positive at all, really. Because he's not going till December, and I don't think there's much prospect of the Glazers selling Manchester United at the moment. Because he's they're still in the Super League, aren't they? I don't think there's any prospect of the Glazers selling. I wonder if there's no league punishment. Man City players are thrown off balance, drop points, United go to win the league. Woodward masterclass, says Liam Charmer. Are you staying live for the Perez interview at 10:30? Apparently all clubs are still interested and only Chelsea have doubts. I am going to hang about until 10:30 purposely just to see what Perez says, yes. Hi Mark, even the Super League doesn't go through. It will be a stain on United history and showing how willing they were to abandon the fans for cash, says Henry. Exactly. And Hector Bellerin put on Twitter, quoting Arsene Wenger, saying to all the Arsenal lovers, take care of the value of the club, my love and support forever, says Sean. And if the teams are fined for leaving the Super League, where do those fines go? If Real Madrid receives all of it, then this is the biggest scam ever, says Emil. And what a dramatic birthday I've had. Thanks for the updates, says Darth. Happy birthday as well. It better be about how he's leaving football. There's a reason Spanish government were all allowing this. His influence in Spain would rival that of the Godfather. Glad he's being exposed to the world, says Jacob Allen. So the situation, just for people who don't know what's going on, Florentino Perez is the president of the Super League. He's going to be speaking at 10:30. Last night he spoke a load of shite. He's back talking again tonight. We know that Man City are coming out. Remember Perez, we know that Liverpool players don't want it to happen and have publicly said that. We know that Chelsea have got their doubts. This should be the beginning of the end of the European Super League. Man City will not be in it. Well done, Manchester City. Well done, Liverpool players, for publicly coming up against your club and supporting your fans. We await to see what Florentino Perez's statement's going to be. That's going to be coming up in about 10 minutes' time. I believe it's the beginning of the end, but there's also a bigger picture here. I'm actually maybe controversial here, but I'm actually rather happy that this is dragging it out. In some ways, if everybody pulled out tonight, it was all over, everything goes back to normal, and we're left with the Glazers and Woodward's, farewell tour for most of the year. If this is dragged out a little bit for a few more days, it forces governments and FIFA and UEFA and the Premier League to actually do something about it because they're carrying on with it. So I would want something more to happen with this. I believe it's the end of it. I really do believe it's the end of it. And I think that it's probably going to take a little bit of time. But we will wait to see what Perez is going to say. And what I would like to do as well is just have a look at where is it? I will find it for you. Just try and remember some of the stuff that he said last night. And the main thing I want to say about it is that he said last night that to come out of this, it's a binding agreement. Everybody signed the agreement. It's too late. No one's going to stop it. Everyone signed the agreement, and effectively behind that agreement is big fines if you come out of it. So. There's a long time to go yet. Gary Lineker's come out and said about Ed Woodward, a man of integrity, well played. Gary, you are in the bloody mud. What are you talking about? What? Gary Lineker drinks and gets on well with Ed Woodward, though. There's pictures of Gary Lineker out with Ed Woodward, isn't there? So I suppose that's no surprise. But a man of integrity. He's just masterminded and presided over the biggest scam job in football and Manchester United's history. Lineker. I used to love Lineker when he played for England as well. I don't know. We will have quotes coming in from not Fernandez. It'd be nice to get some quotes from Fernandez. Even if the Super League dissolves, the Super League clubs still manage to make UEFA Today admit that they have an extra 4 billion available that they used to deny having. Okay, well, I don't know what that's all about. Lots of mixed stories. Next 5 minutes, we'll have quotes from Florentino Perez. Predictions for what Perez is going to say. I think he'll come out and say, we're full steam ahead. Clubs have signed up to it. We're going ahead with it. I think they're going to... I mean, if you listen to his interview last night, he ain't going to come... He ain't going to... He's not... If this was crashing apart, he wouldn't do an interview. He's Mr. Expert. He's been in football for ages. I wear a suit. I know what I'm on about. This is going to work. So I don't see him coming out and saying anything other than that, to be fair. Mark Woodward is leaving at the end of this season, so he's going in May. I thought he was going in I thought he was going in December. I hope that's true, James. Mark Ollie has surpassed Ferguson with successive Champions League qualifications and removing Woodward. Pep's presser was the start of the dominoes. Thank you, Pep, for helping your neighbours and football at such a crisis. Pep obviously knew in his interview this afternoon, didn't he, that this was going to be the beginning of the end, actually. So... he obviously knew that Man City were coming out of it, which is why he probably spoke so freely about how shit it was. Mark, absolutely buzzing with the news. We'll be set. I've done that one, by the way. Perez is going live. Yeah, he's doing an interview at 10:30, apparently. Hi, Mark. Just got promoted on my day off, so it's been a great day. Hope you enjoy the rest of your night. Cheers from the US. It's Kisho. Well done on you. Well done on that. Florintestinal parasite, says Upbeat Sarcastic. All these clubs being congratulated for coming out. No one applauded for me when I came out, says Gowdy. Well, let's applaud you then, if you want one. Okay. Please subscribe, by the way, bottom right-hand corner, if you haven't. Apparently, Boris Johnson played a massive part in stopping this happening. What are your thoughts, says Jimmy John. But it's not been stopped yet, has it? Thanks for everything, pal. I love supporting you and the channel. Great stuff, and I'm solidarity over the last 48. I'm available if you need a writer, says Bryce Shaw. Go through the website, mate. They're always looking for writers on there. UnitedStand.com. Who should we support this weekend? Leeds United or Glazers United, says Gustav. Well, to be fair, it's probably easier to support the players now because they've come out and made their position clear, especially in relation to people like Marcus Rashford, Luke Shaw. So, my sympathy is with the players because I feel that they've been treated the same as us. How many people would it take and how much would you personally give away to help reclaim the 51%? Says David Shaw. I can't answer that question in many ways because I don't know. I don't know how the 51% thing would work. I don't know how governments could acquire the club anyway, and so I don't know how that would work. But I'm sure every one of you would be happy to invest a certain amount to have a stake in Manchester United. And I think if enough people did that, it would probably be attainable for everybody. But look, we've never been run like that. So I don't know how these German clubs technically run day to day. But I would love to see it happening. Of course I would. Thank you for the super chat, Zalaran. I'm beyond relieved to see Ed finally heading out of our beloved club. These last 48 hours have been very stressful, says Sophia's Football Talk. Thanks, Sophia. And Mark, you always said we will never get rid of the Glazers. Has your opinion changed because of Woodward leaving, says Trading with Kieran? Look, till I see them holding up that shirt, which is not the right saying, but you know what I mean. With transfers now, I don't believe they're going to be a United player till they hold up the shirt. I think we've learnt that lesson. And I think that I think the Glazers leaving Manchester United would be such a massive step forward. I'd liken it to the equivalent of bringing Ronaldo back to United because I don't think it will ever happen. Do you think Man United will leave before it all falls apart, Harvey? No, we'll be the last to go. We'll be the last to go. But I don't think it's going to be one team at a time. I think it will just disintegrate, and you don't want to be the last team. So I think what will happen is, at some point, it will get to a point where they go, we can't do this, so we're all just going to say it's not for now. What do you think about McGregor's tweet and loving the streams at the moment? Keep up the good work, says VK. I think he was joking, wasn't he? He said he'd like to buy Manchester United. I think he's actually joking. I don't think he would like to buy Manchester United, and I don't think he could afford Manchester. Well, I think he would like to buy Manchester United, but I don't think he could afford to buy Manchester United, if that makes sense. Chelsea are set to pull out of Europa Super League. This is huge news. Our Chelsea correspondent reports that Chelsea are preparing communications to the European Super League. This has been an emotionally and mentally draining period. Very satisfied with the demise of the Super League after the elitist and cocky comments of Perez last night, says Daniel Luciano. Well, hold on, Daniel, because we might be getting a few more elitist and arrogant comments very, very soon. So I wouldn't agree that it's over yet. In relation to that, Carragher has said Glazers out, and Neville has said Glazers out, and Carragher has said FSG out. I think it's very clear where clubs stand in relation to their owners at the moment, and it needs to carry on. We need to keep that energy up. But Florentino Perez will be talking very, very soon, and we'll have all the latest quotes for you from him. Sky Italy is saying that all Premier League clubs might leave the Super League. Source, yeah, we've done that one as well. Sometimes you're repeating things because you're seeing it in different places. Okay, there's nothing coming out about that just yet, so we'll hold fire with that. United Journal has just told me that the Perez interview starts at 10:30 and it's 10:29 now, so we'll be keeping an eye out for that. My prediction with Perez is that he's going to come out, you know, and stand by it, really. Because that's the thing to do, isn't it? Okay. Do you think it could happen that it will come down to the clubs making a deal with UEFA for a payout in order to drop it? Yes, Zalarin. That's probably why they're not dropping out. Gary's just said on Sky that the support needs to continue to get the Glazers out of United. Well, he's only repeating what the genius Goldbridge said, but I'm joking. But no, he's only repeating what we've all said. You know, you've got to keep it going. And I'm very happy to hear that him and Carragher are still doing that, because I think as pundits, we've needed this from all different areas. You've got the government getting involved, you've got the FA, you've got the organisations, you've got the ex-players in the media, you've got the fans. We've got everything on this at the moment, and they're right. We need to keep at it. Do you think it could happen that it will come down to the clubs making a deal with UEFA? Yes. Messi and Ronaldo are awfully quiet, the two biggest stars. They should say something either way, says J. Key. And Barca will continue for now. We'll wait for some member votes so they don't pay the termination fee, says Ethan Cleverly. When is the vote for Barcelona? Imagine you're so cheating on you, filing for divorce, moving into another place, and then asking for forgiveness a few days later, says Mallorca Pineapple Guy. Good name. Arnav, welcome to the Members Club. And do you think millennial and the younger generation have less interest in watching and participating in sports because of other entertainment options, says Robbie? I don't know. I don't think that they do. I think that young people are massively engaged in football and sport, to be honest with you. If this whole debacle proves anything, it's that much like a crap family, love is unconditional, support is not. The owners didn't see the difference, says Reese. Exactly. Hi Mark, have you seen TalkSport's Twitter understanding that the Super League has ended, or don't you trust their sources, says Callum MG. I'll have a look at it. God is good. Finally, this investigation of mediocrity were done and the results of silverware will follow, says Hunter. And it's 3 a.m. in India. Love from India, says Rahit. Yeah, thanks everyone who is watching. I never forget that, whilst I'm in England, that not everybody is in England, and the interview is you're putting the hours in, interested in what's happening. Right, let's see if we can get any quotes coming in, because it is 10:32. He probably won't start straight away anyway, will he? 1 minute ago from Matt Law, no need to worry about a lack of an official statement re Chelsea pulling out of the Super League. That will most likely come tomorrow, but the process is underway and they are out. Man City, Chelsea, it's, as I said, it might take a little bit longer, but it's going to happen. It's going to happen, and it's going to happen. But let's see. But let's see what Perez has got to say. That's going to be coming out in the next few minutes as well. Perez is still at the Super League meeting, so he's not actually there at the moment. So we're probably going to get something coming in a little bit later about that one. Do you think we will still do transfers because of this, says Ben? You know what, Ben? To be absolutely blunt, what are you worrying about transfers for? I think at this moment in time, if you're worried about transfers, you are absolutely focusing on the wrong thing. I think up until, probably the last few hours, I was worrying about whether I'd still be a Manchester United fan. I was worrying about Manchester United becoming a franchise that isn't Manchester United. If Man United didn't buy a player for the next 10 years, but we kept Manchester United, I'd put up with it. So at the end of the day, we're still very much in the battle here. We're still very, very much in the battle here. So Romano tweet. Let's have a look. Florentino Perez is still in the Super League meeting tonight to decide about the future of the league. The English clubs are key to decide what's going to happen after Man City official statement to leave the competition. So I don't know whether that means we won't get a statement tonight, but it's still going on. Oh, sorry. The Super League meeting will be very long. It is not known what will happen. It is not known what will happen tomorrow morning, says Madrid Extra. So they're going to be. We're getting conflicting reports now because basically we were told that the meeting was over and that Perez was going to have an interview, and now we're hearing that it's still going on. Which means if it's still going on, then there is no decision, isn't there? So if there's no decision, we don't know what's going on. Simple as that. I'm hearing that Woody is staying to see through the sale of the club by the Glazers, says Michael Tomko. I doubt it. Hi, Mark. I'm 14, and honestly, these last few days have been an emotional mess. The school feels like Monday Night Football, says Dainbo. Phil Jones outlasted Ed Woodward, says Stevie Donahue. I don't know whether that's something to be proud of. If the Glazers do decide to sell the club, what type of new owners would you like to have, says Jack Lynch. I mean, look, that's a conversation I'd love to have a 3-hour chat about. I'm not going to do it now because I just think it's very presumptuous to do that. It's wishful thinking at the moment. Look, it's a very big day that Ed Woodward's going to go, but ultimately, Ed Woodward is, what's Ed Woodward? He's the front man, isn't he? The band is still behind him. God is... so we've done that one as well. So look, I still think we're a long way off that. We're still in the Super League. I think the Super League will end, but we're still in it at the moment. Woodward's the financial architect as the go-between with JP Morgan. Glazers will have egg on their face with the collapse of the scheme. Woodward out, says Keith Singer. Woodward will be the number one boss of the Super League. You see that, says Halvard. Can't believe how much they made me feel sick, says Josh. Hi, Mark. Are you still going to be doing the Super League career mode with United? Mate, I can't do a Super League career on FIFA at the moment, can I? I mean, I don't feel like I don't feel like. I mean, like, there's a lot of things I had planned this week around transfers. There's a lot of stuff I had planned this week around tactics. I've got no, if I did a top 5 Man United strikers for the summer, I think I'd get booed and I can't even hear you. I can only see the typing. So at the moment, we're just very much in the hands of one of the greatest scams of our time, of football's time. I mean, has anything like this ever happened in football before? I don't know. So we're in the hands of this at the moment. Hi Mark, do you agree that Man United deserves a spit in the face and then we all get back to normal play, or what do you think we will deserve happen? Says Matt. If I was to predict what's going to happen, Matt, I would say that we will end up back where we were, and the clubs and you know we then need to push for reform. But when I say football, on Real Madrid as per is not. Agnelli is not resigned from Juventus, and both Real Madrid and Juventus are expected to keep on pushing for a Super League and won't give up easily. Perez is prepared to go down with the ship. Yep. And as Gary Neville said, Ed Woodward is the trunk of the tree. We now need to go for the roots. Spot on. Spot on. I mean, look, I think with Gary Neville, I think he said it himself, and you've got to respect him for this. And apparently the meeting is about whether the English clubs will decide to stay in the Super League or not. But, you know, I think Gary Neville said it himself, didn't he? That maybe he'd been a little bit too quiet about the Glazer ownership in the past. And, you know, he's woken up to it now. I don't expect that to change over the, you know, from now. I think we need to keep the passion and the fire burning against what is going on. Yeah, definitely. This will be the longest night in European football history. Everything will be decided tonight. The Super League clubs are considering possibilities. If the English clubs leave, the project could end, or they could be replaced with clubs from other countries. Nothing is decided yet. And I think on that doesn't actually surprise me, because I think on that, what is happening, it's going to be a long night. I'm not going to stay live all night by any means. I'm not going to do that. I think that's silly. I think, you know, tomorrow will probably be a bigger day than that. You know, and hopefully we'll wake up to some good news. But after the last couple of days, I'm just happy this is a step in the right direction. And I think that's spot on, Frankie O'Connor. Hi, Mark. Just want to say in the last 2 years, you've revitalised my love for our club. The last few days have made me realise how much the club and this channel means to me. Jack, thank you. Thank you for that. Really appreciate that. On behalf of all 1.2 million subs, thank you so much. Your hard work and passion will never go unnoticed. Love from Ireland, pal. And look, that does mean a lot, because, you know, it is hard work that goes into that. At the end of the day, we are just a fan channel, and we do share the emotions and worries and happiness that well, not enough happiness, but we do share all those things. And but I do just think, going back to that, and a big shout out to all you a lot as well. I mean, the amount of support you give us and how many videos you watch is fantastic. There's another tweet coming in here that people are telling me to read. But I do think that, as I've said before, for Real Madrid and Barcelona, they're fucked, basically. They're in a league that they can't earn enough money in. So this was a get out of jail for them. So I think they will try and keep it. And also, let's not forget, a lot of successful people are stubborn. So I think that that Perez will try and save it. Wouldn't expect Ed Woodward to remain at Manchester United until the end of 2021, as per club statement. A quiet summer departure, more likely than leaving midway through next season, says Mark Ogden. Okay. Yeah, I'd agree on that. I'd agree on that. So yeah, I expect that they will definitely continue with that one. Definitely continue with that one. And keep pushing it through. Keep pushing it through. Don't feel bad for them. They mismanaged for 20 years. I don't feel bad for Barcelona and Real Madrid. I feel bad for their fans, because although, you know, my loyalty will always be with English football, I can empathise with. I mean, as I said before, I think I said it on That's Football last night. I don't know how people around Juventus and AC Milan and Inter Milan and Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid feel about this, and Barcelona. I don't know how they feel about this, because ultimately I don't know how they feel about it. But if they feel the same, then I empathise with them. But look, ultimately we've been talking about it on this channel for a while, because we talk about Barcelona and Real Madrid quite a lot, because we talk about them in the sense of they'll be competing for a player that we want. And I will say Real Madrid and Barcelona have got big financial issues. The reason this Super League, and I totally get this. This is one thing I do want to make very, very clear. I totally get why Perez wants to put Real Madrid into a Super League, because they will be a lot richer and they will be able to buy better players. The problem is, I've got no problem with you wanting to get more money. It's not that. It's what you're doing to get that money. You're turning your back on the European Cup. You're turning your back on competitive football. You're turning your back on loads of other clubs that are going to be poor because of you. That's not a way to solve this. If Real Madrid need more money, you construct something where everybody gets more money, but you'll get more money because you've got more fans. If you can't say football's over because we've mismanaged ourselves, that's exactly right what somebody said. Real Madrid should not be in financial difficulty. They've got huge support. They're a very successful club. If they're in financial difficulty, it's because they've overstretched themselves. That doesn't mean that you've got a right to restructure football, make it uncompetitive, and put other clubs out of business so you can get the money. That's just not right. So I understand why Real Madrid and Barcelona want to earn more money, but there are more legitimate ways of doing that you have to put more work into. Mark, can you please promote this Friday at 6 p.m. outside the Emirates? There is a protest against Super League and to get the greedy owners out of the club, says Sam Perry. Well, there you go, 6 p.m. Emirates. This is great news. It's a great time. Donny's getting more games. Mason's getting more goals. And now nobody can afford Pogba. The backlash from this will affect all these clubs' thoughts, says AJ Singh. Yeah, I don't think anyone can afford anybody at the moment. We might not be able to afford anyone. The thought of you leaving us rightfully was so sad to me. You connect me to so many United fans when I can't be. Love you, Mark. Thank you for everything, says Braden. Well, I might not be not leaving yet. Harry Maguire's apparently put something on Instagram, so I'll just have a quick look at this. Oh, Harry Maguire. That's not his song. Well timed, Harry. What's he say? Let's all. No, it's a picture saying "Let's all stay united." Yeah, I'll put a tweet out for that. Sources on Tuesday night say that Ed Woodward is 100% staying until the end of the season, but wants a break after so long in charge of one of the world's biggest sports clubs, and there was high potential for the news to leak out before the end of the year, says and that's coming from the Mail. Right, let's give you an update on what's going on. The remaining 4 Premier League clubs formally withdrew from the European Super League this evening, and that's coming from the BBC. I don't know where in the BBC that's coming from. All Premier League clubs to leave from the Super League tonight, from the BBC. Simon Stone, there we go. Understand the remaining 4 English clubs will formally withdraw from the Super League this evening. That's it. It's over. It was worth staying live for. That's it. It's over. Absolutely over. I mean, if that's coming from the BBC, it's gone. We're all gone. We're all out. It's over. It's bada bing, bada boom time. It's done. Deal done. Here we go. It's over. All English clubs withdraw from Super League. Well, you know what? We were excited earlier on in the evening, weren't we? We were excited earlier on in the evening. We were saying that, you know, it's over. We didn't feel like it was definitely over, but we definitely... They said it's all over. They think it's all over. It is now. In the words of Walthamstow or whatever he was called from 66, it's over. Because if you're not aware, when the BBC come out and say things, and this started off with BBC saying Chelsea, then Man City, and we've now got the BBC saying all over. All over, all of them coming out, which is very interesting because Manchester United constructed this. So Manchester United getting out of it with all the other English clubs is probably quite a clever idea, because if you think about it, if Man City have gone and Chelsea have gone and then Liverpool say they're going, Man United can't really say we're going to stay, because they know the power of the Premier League will be big with Man City, Chelsea and Liverpool in it and no United. So United forced out by others' actions, which is fantastic. But as Gary Neville has said, and as I've said, and as you've said as well, we need to totally not forget what this is all about. We also need to keep the pressure on through legislation, fans and everybody else to remove the Glazers from Manchester United. It cannot just stop there. It must continue. Fabrizio Romano says Bruno Fernandes and Luke Shaw were the spokesmen of the squad's dissatisfaction against the Super League. That's how it started, and that's why Ed Woodward decided to resign at the end of 2021. And also, Manchester United could leave the Super League soon. That's massive news. That is absolutely massive news. If that is true. Luke Shaw and Bruno Fernandes statue needed. So let me just read that out for you. Fabrizio Romano, BBC saying that all English clubs are going to come out. Fabrizio Romano saying Manchester United could leave the Super League very soon. Bruno Fernandes and Luke Shaw were the spokesmen of the squad's dissatisfaction against the Super League. That's how it started, and that's why Ed Woodward decided to resign at the end of 21. Luke Shaw and Bruno Fernandes statue needed. And isn't it no? Look, there's no satisfaction in this really, but isn't this nice when two of your favourite players are the ones that get rid of Ed Woodward? Woo, let's have some of that. Sit down, Luke Shaw haters and Bruno haters. Where's your Bruno versus Pogba fight now? Where's Luke Shaw's a fat, useless left back now, eh? That's all a big joke, by the way. Actually, I don't care. We're all one. We're all united. But look, I do love Luke Shaw and Bruno Fernandes. They are two of my favourite players. So it personally makes me feel very happy that they are the two people that got rid of Ed Woodward. I love it. I love it. Absolutely love it. But look, I love all the players tonight. You know, we've actually got our team back playing in the Premier League and the European Cup. That's step one. Step two, get rid of these prats in charge of the club and let's start properly rebuilding this football club again. But Perez is in the mud, which is great to see. But that's an amazing story. And you know, I think when Fabrizio Romano puts something out, as we know, it's here we go time. So when he's saying that Bruno Fernandes and Luke Shaw were the reason that we got rid of Ed Woodward, love it. That's probably tweet of 2021. I might actually get that framed. I think that tweet from Fabrizio Romano. You can see it on my Twitter, by the way, at Mark Goldbridge, because I've quote tweeted it, or just go to Fabrizio Romano. But I actually think I'm going to print that Fabrizio Romano quote off and put it on my wall. Bruno Fernandes and Luke Shaw were the spokesmen of the squad's dissatisfaction against the Super League. That's how it started, and that's why Ed Woodward decided to resign. Oh, can I just read that statement again? Bruno Fernandes and Luke Shaw were the spokesmen of the squad's dissatisfaction against the Super League. And that's how it started, and that's why Ed Woodward decided to resign. Get out! Get out! Get out! Bruno and Luke Shaw, get in! Get in! Get in! Get out! I'd love to have been a fly on the wall. I'd love to have been Bruno Fernandes and Luke Shaw. To be honest, if Bruno Fernandes and Luke Shaw asked me to resign from the United stand, I'd do it. I'd be like, I'll do it, lads. But get out, Woodward. Luke Shaw and Bruno just finished you. Love it. Love it. And whilst they were talking, while he walked out, Harry Maguire, Marcus Rashford and everyone else was clapping him out. And De Gea, get out. Get out. Love it. Just love it. Love it. Well done, lads. And Manchester United are coming out of the Super League as well. It's all over as well. Manchester United are out of it as well. So lots of things breaking here. We thought it was going to be in the early hours, but it's happening now. Arsenal out of proposed Super League as well. That's coming from David Ornstein. Fabrizio Romano says it as well. Arsenal are set to leave the Super League 2. It's confirmed. Manchester United are out of the Super League official. Sky saying Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester United and Spurs are all withdrawing from European Super League. No English club left in it. Confirmed. Atletico Madrid remain firm with their Super League commitments. Who gives a shit? I tell you what, I couldn't give a shit. The reality is, if you haven't got the English clubs, you haven't got a Super League. Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, who are you going to do it with? The German clubs aren't doing it. The French clubs aren't doing it. What are you going to do it? Who are you going to do it with? You're going to have a Serie La Liga, a Serie Liga, or a La Serie. You know, crack on. It's over. There is no Super League without the Premier League. That was what they wanted. They wanted the Premier League. So well done. If we've got Arsenal fans, if we've got Chelsea fans, if you've got Man City fans, Liverpool fans, Spurs fans, we're all fans of football tonight, and we've all got what we wanted, which is absolutely superb. So look, for me as a United fan, and it might be the same for Arsenal, it might be the same for Liverpool, this is just step one. We've won the battle. Let's get rid of the others beginning with a B-A-S-T-A-R-D. And yeah, let's see if we can get 30,000 likes as well. We've never done that on a video, because this is a history moment. This is a history moment because it was a history moment on Sunday that they were trying to destroy our history. It's only on Tuesday night and we've got it back. We've got our football club history back. We haven't got our football club back. I'm not having that. We've not got our club back. It's not celebration time yet. We've not got our football club back, but we have got our history back. We will not be going into some shitty non-competitive Super League. We will be staying in the Premier League. We will be staying in the Champions League. We will retain Manchester United in England in the Premier League. We won't be venturing off into some God knows where Super League franchise bullshit. So that's absolutely fantastic. It really is. And as I said, but it can't be, it cannot, you know, we've got to keep the fight going. We can take a breath. We can take a breath and focus. Manchester United, Chelsea, Arsenal, Tottenham and Liverpool are set to leave the Super League after Manchester City. The process to withdraw has just begun. Work in progress with legal team for the English clubs. So what Perez said about, you know, people can't leave, you know, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. Rob Harris, Arsenal follow Chelsea, Man City in withdrawing from the Super League, the first of the American-owned clubs to quit the project. Well, it only took 2 minutes for Manchester United to come out. Carragher says FSG cannot continue at Liverpool. Confirmed Arsenal have followed Chelsea. I think Arsenal might have come out a minute before. The next step. I mean, look, I'm very happy. I'm very, very happy, of course. I'm actually, you know what? I'm actually exhausted. I think tomorrow morning show at 10 o'clock, I'll probably have more energy to celebrate than I've got right now. Because if you're like me, it's been absolutely exhausting, hasn't it? Absolutely exhausting. But to have that victory and to know that we're not going to be in a Super League next year, and to know that we'll be in the Champions League, and to know that we'll be in the Premier League means that we can focus back on the Super League. Well, I think we will be able to. I don't think there will be any. I think the UEFA will say, welcome back to the English clubs. You can play in the Europa League semi-final and you can play in the Champions League semi-final. I don't think there will be anything about that. This is the biggest win of the season. This is for the fans, says Dan Baker. Spot on. Welcome to the members club, Bruno. We will get our football club back. Mark, biggest phrase of United is believe, says Steve Locke. Yeah, we've got to go for that next. Apparently Mata and De Gea were also angry for throwing Ollie under the bus, says Troy. Yep, ex-senior pros within the team. Do you think the clubs should go and punish regardless of what happens, says Sean? Sean, I don't think they should be. Footballers won, says Dean. Thanks to you all at United stand for all you do. I love this isn't going through. Greetings from Chicago, says Eric. Thanks, Eric. Best news, I've just woken up in Australia. Mark, justice has been served, says Ali. And now I hope that Boris forces a law through to force clubs to sell 51% of their shares as ACCA. And if that means they sell at a loss, tough. Keep your head up, Mark, and the United stand. Yes, 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 yes. United have put a tweet out now. Let's have a look. I don't think they ever put a tweet out about the... I've just quote tweeted Manchester United. Manchester United have tweeted. Let me just tell you what they've said as well. Manchester United withdraw from the European Super League. Manchester United will not be participating in the European Super League. We've listened carefully to the reaction from our fans, the UK government and other key stakeholders. We remain committed to working with others across the football community to come up with sustainable solutions to the long-term challenges facing the game. Bottled it, didn't you? You lost. You took on your fans and you lost. You boys took on the fans and took one hell of a beating. You retreat. You came out, Billy Big Bollocks. This is what's happening with no consultation. You didn't speak to the players. You didn't speak to the fans. You didn't speak to the manager. You did it behind everybody's back. You thought you were it. And now you've had to retract and say you've lost. We've listened to the fans. You've lost to the fans. You started off right with the L. You didn't listen to the fans. You lost to the fans. If you'd listened to the fans in the first place, you never would have put us through the last few days. You've not listened to the fans because you never asked the fans in the first place. You've lost to the fans. Don't come out of it now and say, we've listened to the fans and we've decided we're not going to enter it. You've spent God knows how much time doing this behind everybody's back, lying, snaking about for months probably, maybe even longer than that. You've thrown it into everybody like a sabotage and it's gone against you. You've not listened. You've lost. Apologise. Sell the club. Let us have our club back and let us rebuild and confine this last few days of mental torture to history. You lost. You didn't listen. And they tweet that they're coming out of it. They never bloody told us they were going into it. Just get rid of them. Get rid of them. Get rid of him. But it's a victory for you. It's a victory for the fans. Well done. My worry is that Ed Woodward will still oversee a transfer window in the summer. He's not going to do any transfers or help the squad at all, says Ryan. How much more do you love Bruno and Shaw now? Betraying the fans' thoughts on this whole situation and their decisiveness has led to the solution, says Salah. Look, I love Bruno and Luke Shaw anyway as players. I think they're absolutely fantastic. But I think as going forward from this, they are... they all are. Rashford is, Maguire is, Bruno had put the Instagram out, Luke Shaw had as well. They're leaders, aren't they? And it actually reflects well on what they're like on the pitch. I think Rashford's growing into a leader, both on and off the pitch. Harry Maguire is the captain. Bruno Fernandes is a born leader, you can see it. And I think Luke Shaw's grown into a leader this year. So does it surprise me that Bruno Fernandes and Luke Shaw are the players that got Ed Woodward to resign? I mean, I just loved... I just feel so... I could cry. I could cry from tears. I'd cry from exhaustion, happiness. I'm so drained. It's been up and down. I can only imagine what it's been like for you lot. But you know what? I always like a laugh. I always like to, if a player makes a mistake, I don't really like to say, you're fucking useless, get out of my club, you CUNT. I'd rather say that they're like a snail at a snail funeral, because I like to bring comedy into my life. And to sit here now at the end of this, knowing Manchester United are not in the European Super League or whatever they bloody want to call it anymore, having listened to Perez last night going on about what a great intelligent man he is and this will be great for everybody, like a dictator telling us we've got to do something we don't want to do. To listen to that last night and 24 hours be here going, we're not in the Super League anymore, and also to hear that Bruno Fernandes and Luke Shaw are why Ed Woodward resigned, I just think, God, that I didn't even need that icing on the cake. but I'll eat it. It's absolutely brilliant. So I just find that hilarious. I mean, look, I would have loved it if it had been Phil Jones and Fred. You know, I'm nothing against those two players. I'd have called them legends as well. Read the Arsenal tweet, Mark. They even apologised. I'll have a look at that. This is a victory for football, including the clubs who were in it because they defended the lower leagues. It's good to see the respect in football, says Sean Liddle. The Super League has collapsed. BBC News has announced. Well, of course it has. The English clubs go. It's over. Of course it does. Transfer news tomorrow, Mark, says Baz. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Tuesday, April the 20th, 21, the day we saved football. Yes, I need to do that tweet. That's an iconic tweet, Jack Presto. You've just reminded me of something that I do need to do that. So well done. I do need to read the Arsenal tweet as well because you know we're all in this today. We're all in this together today, aren't we? So yeah, we do that. There's a banger of a tweet going out there on @MarkGoldbridge if you want to check that out. I'm just about to check Arsenal. Arsenal. What's Arsenal said? As a result of listening to you and the wider football community over recent days, we are withdrawing from the proposed Super League. We made a mistake and we apologise for it. You have and the top reply. You have tarnished the image of the club. That's unforgivable. No apology will erase what you have done. It will take years for people to forgive you, and I think many never will. Yep, I think you're right. I think you're right on that one. I mean, look, the Super League is dead. I mean, all we wanted was the English clubs out, and it's over. And I think as well, what I would say is that all those statements from those clubs are nothing short of a disgrace. You cannot do what you've done to football over the last 2 days and then just put a tweet out and go, we've listened to you, we've made a mistake. No, you fucked up. You can't do that. Like, there are certain things that, you know, I'm not going to liken it to a criminal offence where you know, think of the most horrific criminal offences, you know. I'm not saying that they've done that, but you have, what you've done is, if a football club is a family, you've betrayed it in the worst possible way. You can't just apologise for it. You betrayed your family in the worst possible way. An apology is just not going to cut it. You need to go. Apologise and go. That's what you need to do. I can't believe all 6 clubs are just going to be able to sweep it under the carpet like nothing happened. Head patting has started. What a joke, says Liam Anderson. I know this is a side issue yet. Well, you're not doing your FIFA 21 league now. Think after all that's happened, would you want to continue with it, says Salah Ahmed. Well, I don't know. Let's see how we feel in a couple of days. Arsenal are the only club that have apologised. Can't believe clubs are saying they listened now. Just consult, says Anka. How many owners do you think will sell up because of this? I think they should all sell up, says Harvey. I don't think any of them will. I don't think any of them will. As I said a couple of hours ago, I think now the genuine fight starts, because what I would say, what I'm really, really happy about, and remember every morning I kept saying this, and many of you were saying it as well, is that every morning we wake up whilst this is it, and admittedly it's only been 2, but my big fear was that this would run on a bit longer, and that every morning people woke up, they'd feel a little bit less angry, and eventually they'd just get used to it. And I never wanted that to happen, and it hasn't happened, and we've absolutely obliterated it. Now tomorrow, you've got to have that same frustration to get rid of the Glazers, and that's what we need to do. But we've had 15 years of the Glazers at this club and we've not been able to get rid of them. So I think from tomorrow, what you'll see amongst the United fan bases again is the division, the tiredness. We can't get rid of them. We just got to put up with it. And that will just continue. I hope not. But I think the FA, UEFA, they're just going to go, we've got everything back. We're happy. We're happy now. Let's talk about how we make this never happen again. But that's not reform. We need something different. UEFA aren't going to want... UEFA won't want what the government said. UEFA won't want clubs to be owned like they are in Germany. They're not going to help us now. So I think we move into something else. As fans tomorrow, and this is where we need people like Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher to help out. As fans tomorrow, we're not going to get support from the Premier League and the UEFA. UEFA and the Premier League were only on our side because they were going to lose. They weren't on our side because they think that clubs need reforming. They've got those clubs back, their mates again now. There will be interesting dynamics because the UEFA president, basically, how does he really trust Man United or Juventus after what he said? But we need the government to keep their involvement now. I think they're the only ones who can bring proper reform to the English clubs. So that's what we need happening. Kyle says, applaud to all fans of all clubs. We come together and we have won. Hopefully owners involved leave now, says Kyle. And no Super League, no Woodward. The last 2 days weren't great, but I'm happier than I was 3 days ago. And I'd agree with that, Patrick. I'm happier than I was 3 days ago. Definitely. Scary thing is, if City and Chelsea don't pull out first, no way United do it. Still so happy though, says Scott Bennett. Yes, I agree with that. I do agree with that. Sorry, I'm just getting messages from people as well. I just want to make sure I get everything. If City and this is it. Scott Bennett. Let's never forget. This is probably the most important thing I'm going to say of the night. Let's never forget that if Manchester City and Chelsea hadn't pulled out, we'd still be in this mess. So you know what? I think football's changed massively in 2 days. Let's say 3 days from Saturday night, where none of us knew this was even possible to happen, to Tuesday night, football has changed beyond belief. I can never, ever say anything bad about Manchester City Football Club or Chelsea Football Club again. I can want to beat them. I can say they're jammy. I can say that I can't stand them in a footballing sense. But in relation to the part they've played in dismantling this Super League, because they were happy when they had 12 teams. They would have gone ahead with 12 teams. But as soon as Man City and Chelsea came out, the English clubs were like, shit, we've got to come out because the Premier League's still a going concern. The Premier League could probably still run without Man United and Liverpool in it. Arsenal and Spurs, of course it could. So maybe there's a bigger story to come out, and that'll probably come out tomorrow and everything like that. But I think if... and I did say that Man City were ruining football, but that was in a totally different world, and I've apologised for that. So I can't ever say that again because Manchester United tried to ruin football. That's the truth. My club tried to ruin football for everybody and had a big part in it. And I'm apologetic about that, even though it's got nothing to do with me. But those clubs played a massive part. Respect to Manchester City and Chelsea because, yeah, they should never have signed it up for it in the first place. But if they hadn't come out and they were the first two to come out, we would still be sat here crying about what was going on. Delighted the United stand will be back to its match preview and morning transfer news very soon. Last 2-3 days have been massively draining now. Bring on Sancho, says Cool Collectible. Well, I'm a little bit far off that at the moment. Oh well, Man United are now only team to be in the Champions League, Europa League and Super League in the same season, says Azad. I think Liverpool fans will find a way to boot their owners out. They always manage to come together in a way that we struggle. Let's copy them, says Gustav. And it's a good day when I can have a chance to support Benfica at Old Trafford on a European night. The people will always hold the power. We just forgot about it, says Cesar. Well, I think that's going to be very interesting going forward, isn't it? Like, there's a battle now, isn't it? The battle now is who can get rid of their owners first. You know, I think we like to think who can win the Premier League, who can win a trophy first. I think that the interesting battle now is who can get rid of their owners first, Liverpool, Manchester United or Arsenal. I don't know. Mark, I believe Pep had a lot to do with City coming out. I think they really don't want to lose him. That's why, says Sahel. Hopefully Man United won't play for the Super League. Man United are out of it. Yeah, Manchester United are definitely out of it. As I understand, unless they've gone back in. You put your left leg in, your left leg out. In, out, in, out. You shake it all about. Perez might have lost, but that interview last night was so clear. He convinced me he was unstoppable. Yeah, I think Perez still thinks he's in it. Anyone? Can we get a safe and well on Florentino Perez? I mean, bloody hell. He pissed me off so much last night. I can't feel sorry for him. There's a story coming out that UEFA offered crazy money to the English clubs to leave the Super League. I wonder why they offered it to the English clubs. I bet Real Madrid are furious. UEFA offered the 6 English teams in the Super League a large sum of money to leave the Super League. The same offer was not made to the Spanish teams, who were seen as the association's enemy. Well, if that's true, that's big news, isn't it? I mean, look, I don't know where that's coming from. That's coming from Mundo Deportivo, which, to be honest with you, I would not... I wouldn't believe that. I wouldn't believe that. I always take news as I take transfer news. I'm far better at understanding transfer news sources than I am anything else. But Mundo Deportivo would be the sort of outlet that would say Man United are going to sign not Dembele, Marcus Llorente or something like that. So I wouldn't believe it. But you know what? We did get football back tonight. Because I think watching Liverpool Leeds last night, trying to keep an eye on Chelsea Brighton, I probably watched about 2 minutes of it, because there's a big warning sign there. If football loses its integrity even a little bit, it just disappears overnight. Like Man United against Burnley didn't even feel that real, but Liverpool Leeds last night and Chelsea Brighton tonight, if I was Liverpool and Chelsea, I'd be really pissed off, because you can tell the players were impacted by that. They were, and they both dropped 2 points, and that might mean they're not in the Champions League next year. So it just shows you there's a fine balance between greed and integrity, and football lost its integrity for a couple of days, and people lost interest. And now hopefully we can get back to some reality and really enjoy some football again. We can all support Man City tomorrow night because they're playing Villa. Of course we don't. We want Villa to win. I feel like Arsenal need to go. I'm trying to give you a bit of a roundup here. As I said, I want to give a big shout out to all Manchester United fans. I want to give a big shout out to all football fans, but we are a Manchester United fan channel, and I think we're going to end up, obviously we're going to go back to being that now, and I say this with total and utter happiness. As much as it's been fantastic to unite football fans, and I think we know what we can do, let's all go back to our clubs now, and let's start having the banter and the rivalry, because I think what we have shown, and this has always been my line, I've used it at awards, and I've used it with people, and I've used it when I go onto other fan channels, and I've seen it mentioned a few times, and I really think it's true, and maybe I was ahead of the game. Rivals, not enemies. That's what we are. We're rivals, we're not enemies, and we've proven that. We shouldn't be enemies, because you never know when you're going to need each other. We should be strong rivals. That's what we should be. We should, if you beat Arsenal, or they beat us, or Liverpool, or whatever, we should take the banter and we should give it out. But you never know when you're going to need each other. And what we've seen over the last 2 days is that when we come together as fans, we're a very, very, very tough force to beat. And maybe we should do it more often. And maybe we should do it more within our fan base. Because I tell you what, bringing it back to Manchester United, we are a very divided fan base, and we have been for years. And I think there's a lesson there for us as a football club, that if we can come together with Liverpool fans and Arsenal fans and Man City fans and Chelsea fans and Spurs fans to sort this out, then why can't we come together as Manchester United fans to sort it out? No Grand Theft Auto today, Nathan, but maybe it'll be back tomorrow. Now we've got rid of all this shit. 6:15 a.m. here in Singapore. Good news to start the day, says Hayata. Strong rivals like Goku and Vegeta, says Red Baron. And how do you stand on the participating clubs still being severely punished even after their withdrawal? They won't be, Jamie. They won't be. We won't be punished. Whether we should be punished or not, look, I would take it if we took it, because we deserve it, but we won't be. It's glad to see the fans have got these clubs back in a fair way, regardless of what they have done. We need these teams because it's a competition, says Sean Liddle. Only reason City and Chelsea pulled out is because they're already minted and the hassle outweighed the pay. Doubt they'd have left if they were in debt, says Duncan. Yeah, but we still would have won. In a way, the experiment, if Man City and Chelsea hadn't pulled out, I still think we would have won. I still think what was going on with the government and stuff like that, it would have happened. I think the Super League thought the fans would fight amongst themselves and eventually they'd quieten down. And I think that they thought they could beat the Premier League and UEFA. I think when the governments got involved, they shit themselves and thought, fuck, the government are going to write legislation. And I think they didn't think that would happen. And the only reason the governments got involved is because of you. Because the outpour, well, a lot of people in government are big football fans like you. Even Prince William got involved in it. So never understand. This is the big lesson. Never underestimate the power of football fans, because people might be in positions of power. Gary Neville, Jamie Carragher, very powerful, influential people, football fans. The government, both sides, Labour and Conservative, a lot of them are football fans. Football is the people's game. And I think these people who tried to do this didn't realise the power of football. All they're interested in is the money of football. Only thing I'll miss from this is educating seals in Luton, says Ollie's at the wheel. If you know, you know. Great work over the past few days, Mark, as it's as rough as it has been. Thanks to everybody, yeah. Perez announces Ultra League, says me. And Mark, see Brandon Williams, Amanda Duarlo in Instagram post. I haven't, mate. I'm sure a lot of them will come out now. And a lot of them won't have said anything before because they're probably, concerned or inexperienced or don't know what to do. So it's great that people like Harry Maguire and Bruno Fernandes and Luke Shaw and Marcus Rashford have led the way, because that's all we needed. We only really needed a couple of them, and we got 4. Mark, as always, well done, mate. Keep up with all the good work, says Andy and Bruno. Mark, these last 3 days have been one of the worst experiences of my life. Happy we've got our football back, says Miss Michael Southcombe. Yep, it is absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I thought that was genuine. Then I thought Manchester United were up for sale. I think I've got to do this tweet. I was thinking about it, and I think it's got to happen. If you're on Twitter, you'll see it. If not, you won't. At Mark Goldbridge. You might want to put your earphones on. I don't know whether... Whoa. Somebody just said something there, that Agnelli's resigned. I don't know whether he has. I think he has to, because the UEFA threw him under the bus, didn't they? As they did with Ed Woodward as well. Wolves are having a bit of banter on their Twitter, as they always have. I wonder if we will get any statement from Florentino Perez. I mean, he's probably crying right now, but the reality is, you made a lot of people cry last night, so the sympathy will not be with you. This is considered the biggest betrayal in the history of sport. Atletico Madrid will decide tomorrow whether to leave or remain in the Super League. I don't know what that's to do with. Whether or not in favour of the Super League, this may be the greatest betrayal in sport. I don't know who that's coming from. I really don't know who that's coming from. What could that be to do with? Who would say that this is the biggest betrayal? Well, at the end of the day, the biggest betrayal was against the fans. Surely. Milan has left the Super League as well. I wouldn't believe that Man United got offered a lot of money. What's the going on here? Football fans need to get together to get the owners of every club out. Yeah, Oliver Green. Do you think younger players were scared to come out and fair play to Bayern, PSG and Dortmund for loyalty, says Sean Liddle? Well, remember, look, let's call a spade here. I think the only heroes are you. I think the only heroes are people like Bruno Fernandes, Luke Shaw, Harry Maguire, Marcus Rashford, and in representing the United players in the dressing room, because I'm sure every player felt the same as them. I think the only heroes are people like, Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville, and then all the other clubs who did likewise things. Let's not pretend that PSG are heroes. PSG didn't go into this because they are linked with the Qatar World Cup, so they would not turn their back on FIFA. Bayern and Dortmund can't come in because they're 51% owned by the fans who wouldn't want it to happen anyway. So they're not heroes. They're just, in the German case, that's how our club should be, because they can't do it. So that's the lesson there, is the German clubs couldn't come into this even if they wanted to, because their clubs are set up in a way where the fans wouldn't allow it. And that's the lesson. How do you feel about all these players being brave on Twitter now that the Super League has crumbled? Where was the support before, says Mr. Ranger? Well, it's not their fault anyway, is it? Apparently UEFA paid the big six to leave Super League, says Harvey Ford. And thank you for Oliver for the super chat there. Do you think young players were scared to come out? UEFA has to look at themselves. The Prem have to look at a big look at themselves. This should never have been able to get this far. Changes need to be made. Lee, I want big changes. I would love to see the Arsenal owners out. I would love to see the Liverpool owners out. But most importantly, I want to see United owners out. But yeah, look, I'd be lying if I said to you, I mean, I've worked in organisations, I'm sure you have. And when big things go wrong, whether it was when I used to work in policing or banking, when big things go wrong, you don't just go, oh, that was horrible, back to work tomorrow. There will be a review. There has to be a review so it doesn't happen again. So UEFA will look at it again. Premier League will look at it again. But the real people we need to look at it is government and how football clubs are run. Germany, hats off. We should have the same in this country. Football should never be put in this situation again. I don't care what Real Madrid and Barcelona do. And I don't really care what Juventus do either. Great football clubs, but they don't concern me. What I've learned from this is that I'm a fan of Manchester United, but every fan of these other clubs involved are just the same as me. They love their clubs and they shouldn't have to go through that. So I hope and want all the English clubs to be reformed in a way that football fans who really matter have a say in their football club. And we've been dictated to at Manchester United by the Glazers for 15 years. No more. Let's get our football club back, and that's what we need help to do. Because I don't know whether we can do it as fans, but we certainly can do it with the help of government, and I think that's what we need. UEFA. So yeah, that's how I feel about that, without a shadow of a doubt. When do you think? Do you think we will get? Do you think we will get a Florentino Perez statement, or do you think I'm being a bit too optimistic? So have a look what was sent there. Have a look at Severe tweet, very funny, says Max Villan. Someone wants me to have a look at the Ian Wright tweet. I've just seen Ash Boyo on Twitter quoting Man United. So Man United say, "We will not be participating in the European League." And Ash has quote tweeted saying, "You helped create it, you bellends. Don't dare try and to act all high and mighty. Get those bastard Glazers away from the club now." People don't forget. People don't forget, do they? If you get if you abuse somebody, and look, I know abuse is a very serious word, and if you are being abused, then make sure you report it, and that's very important. But abuse can take on many different levels. You don't forget, do you? You can't forget being treated how we've been treated. Here's an interesting thing. I don't know whether this is true. An insider suggests Harry Maguire threatened to lead the Man United players in taking unprecedented action should the club not withdraw from the European Super League, which is, again, great to hear. But I think they're the people that we need to, in this situation, call legends. Maguire, Luke Shaw, Bruno, Rashford, they're players that we keep hearing the names of. They're the players that have stood up to the plate and led the players. And it doesn't mean any of the players are any less. And Juan Mata and David De Gea as well. They've been mentioned in relation to the way Solskjaer was treated. So we've had people step up to the plate. And anybody who's not been named, it doesn't mean you're not part of this. Because as you know, your leaders lead. And if Maguire and Bruno and Luke Shaw are saying, we're doing this, then everyone else is going to follow as well, aren't they? Of course, remember, there's loads of stuff that needs to get sorted out, isn't there? A lot of people are saying, I wonder if we'll go back into the ECA. I didn't really know what the ECA was before. But a lot of clubs not really happy with the statements made by the clubs. But I think, I think what we should all do now, I think if you are up early, you should go and have a nice walk. I'll be having one of those tomorrow. I think if you are up late, you should go and spend some time watching Netflix. Or I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to have a nice shower. I'm going to feel refreshed. I'm going to get some nice pajamas on. I'm going to get into bed. I'm going to watch a couple of episodes of The Office. And I'm going to relax. And I'm going to have a good night's sleep. And then tomorrow morning, I'm going to do the 10 o'clock show and look forward. Refreshed and excited and motivated to go again and win more battles, because we've all won tonight. So I just want to say a big thank you to everybody, media. There are journalists out there that I don't agree with. Luckhurst at Manchester Evening News, I know he can't stand me, but actually, fair play, you've stood up and done your bit. Certain fans, I think you've been knobheads in the past, but I've read your tweets and stuff, absolutely brilliant. Fans of other clubs that I've not got on well with in the past, brilliant. And a lot of people I do respect, the Gary Nevilles, the Jamie Carragers. I might not agree with Carragher on his Liverpool stance, but he is to them what Gary Neville is to us, and they're a great duo. The governments, Labour and Conservative, both have come out very, 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 very strong against this. So, and most importantly, the people I consider the United Stand community, who some of you will be new, some of you will be old, but you tune in, you get involved, you share your opinions, and you are football fans. And I just want to say, well done. It's very rare in life that you can say you're all a victory, you've all won, because if you opposed this and you knew it was wrong, you won. Because it's people like that have caused this. The sheer weight of opinion, the sheer weight of anger and frustration and defiance has caused this. Every one of these clubs have put a shit statement out. We've listened to you and we've decided not to do it. You didn't listen to us in the first place. You didn't listen. You lost. And I hope now that the fans and everybody else comes for you. The tables have turned effectively. It's the circle of life. You tried to destroy us. Now people should remove them. They should feel what we've felt. People going after them to remove them from owning these football clubs. And there's only people who can do that, and that's the government. So look, thanks everyone for watching. I'm going to get some rest and freshen up and just switch off, and we'll be back tomorrow morning. But massive love to you all. You're fantastic. We nearly hit 30,000 likes, by the way. Make sure you subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Smash a like on the video. And yeah, you know, what brings me the most joy, whether you support Manchester United or any other club, what brings me the most joy is that I know most of you will have been suffering. And I will argue this with anybody. I put a tweet out the other day saying that I just feel so down and depressed. And a few people took the piss out of it. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to respond to that because it just gives them the steam that they want. But for anyone who took the piss out of that when I said I felt down and depressed, for one, I've spoken quite openly about my mental health before, and sometimes I have down days. I don't profess to have depression or need to go on tablets or anything like that. I think all people struggle with a level of mental health in one way or form. So I've always been open about that, and I'm not ashamed of that. But do not tell me that I can't feel exhausted, tired, deflated, depressed and down about what Manchester United have done to their fans over the last few days. And if I've cried tears when watching things in relation to the Busby Babes, and I've cried tears when watching my club win, then I'm going to cry tears and feel deflated and down when my football club that has given me tears could be ending. And at times over the last couple of days, I've really contemplated and had discussions. What do I do if my football club goes into this Super League? Because I can't support it. What do I do? I even looked at like investing in a club, you know, a non-league club and doing that, you know. So I know anybody who's been anywhere near that or worse has suffered over the last couple of days. So I don't want to sort of just go, we won, let's move on. I just want to say well done to you. And, you know, you won. Let's go and win again. Thanks everyone for watching. I'm happy. I'm tired, but I'm happy. I'll speak to you soon.